Nobody that I know of in my field uses the so-called scientific method. In our field, it's by the seat of your pants. It's leaps of logic. It's guesswork.
You don't see the curvature of the earth. That's
Guesswork.
GLOBEBUSTERS taking over. Bye bye moonlight and rover. Now so mediocre. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is GLOBEBUSTERs taking over. Gotta ride this roller coaster, but the truth is getting closer. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is. Get the shovel for the space hubble, piecing up the puzzle. Need to bust your bubble. Evil gonna crumble, yeah. Sit down, be humble. Got the ball, you better fumble. You get mad cause at this fight about your uncle.
And then they call me the liar. I mean, it's absolutely unbelievable the pathetic techniques that they have to use to prove their heliocentric model.
Bob shut the president, Jeran got the evidence. Arrow slaying Jesuits and Zack is evident. That the earth electric and it's resonant. Your residence is evidence, and I hope to settle in like some sediment. If we so wrong, why they lying to discredit it? That's not too intelligent. That's a guy, not an in court, but we ain't really in the settlement. It's time to awaken from the pseudoscience sedatives.
GLOBEBUSTERs taking over. Bye bye moonlight and rover. Now so mediocre. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is GLOBEBUSTERs taking over. Gotta ride this roller coaster, but the truth is getting closer. Sorry, but your ball is dead. But your ball is.
Inner World Productions.
I'm asking.
Sorry, I'm just eating some word salad here.
Name one thing I said that was word salad. Can you define word salad?
When you just say random words that don't mean anything, put them all together and make them sound like something.
Word salad.
Word salad.
Pure word salad.
Throw so many words out that just sound really smart.
If you put effort into sounding smart rather than being smart, then you're going to sound smart.
It just doesn't make sense.
Went on an entire rant about how, Newtonian mechanics was debunked by, this and that and this and that. He went, just off.
I couldn't follow more than one sentence in a sequence.
I couldn't fucking focus at all. Trust me, I could not focus.
It sounds like he's reading off of a script. I've never met a person who actually talks that way. And I had nothing to say in response to it.
I just couldn't do it.
He's pretty good at using the word salad, at applying it. So that's why he's their chief scientist right now.
Did my best. It's a little bit hard to do much against just a bunch of
gish gallops and word salads.
Knows just enough word salad to make it right.
No, absolutely. So they think he's right because he can say this word salad too much.
Word salad is a delicious salad composed of words that includes facts that are not relevant to the conversation.
That's not what word salad is. That's not what word salad is.
To me, that's
no,
what
it doesn't matter what it means. Whoa. To me, that's what it means.
It means you're just saying words that aren't saying anything. That's what it means, and that's what you do. Right?
But you can never give specific examples of when I did it.
No, it is word salad because you're not answering the question. You're just using
quote from Purdue University, dude.
Purdue? What?
I just quoted Purdue verbatim. So this is the problem with listening to people like this guy. They're just going to dismiss it as word salad. You can't have an intellectually honest conversation.
You're just it's just random. It's just random words.
The fact you didn't understand the terms like anticorpuscular rays and anisotropic and magnetic declination doesn't make it word salad. It means you need to go inform yourself what the words mean.
It's stringing together words in a way that isn't saying anything.
Give an example.
Scientific terminology. I can't remember if you didn't say anything, so it doesn't really stick.
Yeah.
Right?
Don't just dismiss the argument as word salad. It's basically vocalizing inept vocabulary skills and bragging about it. It's super weird.
It's pointing out that you use a bunch of terminology rapid fire to make it sound like you know what you're talking about, to trick people into thinking that you know what you're talking about. But you're just taking it's a jumble of words. You're taking words that are words and putting them together to make a salad, like your lettuce and your croutons and your things like that. That's why I tell you of yum yum word salad.
Can you define word salad?
Yeah, it's when somebody throws a whole bunch of words at people in order to divert the conversation or make it seem that they are more intelligent than they are. What I'm asking you is why does Mercury traverse that? You're going to arbitrarily define the term word salad? Are you kidding me right now?
An actual definition.
I'm sure it does.
Just because you don't know what the words mean doesn't mean that it's word salad.
Austin.
Did you know that?
I missed that part when he was like stuffing vegetables in his mouth.
Dude,
like,
it was very confusing the first time he whipped it out. He couldn't wait to do it. I think is what it was, because like you were saying, whatever you said was super, it was nothing, man. And he literally started eating it. I was like, oh, he's hungry, dog. That's crazy. My man just whipped out a snack. My man just whipped out a snack.
Oh, he's hungry. That's crazy.
He just whipped out a snack with the bait. That's nuts. What's it just got him hungry. And then I realized like later on he did it again when you said something that was a little more robust, and he was like, oh no, fuck that. I'm getting the salad out again. And then it was like, and I was like, oh, it's a gimmick. Yeah, like, dude, you think you're clowning Witsit. You just look like you're super hungry because you're dumb.
Complete random mix of words that make no sense.
Which part?
Ever read a physics
Which part was random?
All of
Which
it.
part? Name one.
All of it. The conjugate craft word.
Do you know what conjugate means?
Of
Do you know what conjugate means?
Dude, you're nuts.
You know what
you're completely nuts.
Yeah. So if you don't understand words, that doesn't make it word salad. I even defined it for you.
It's just word salad. He's just saying words.
Semantic equivalences.
No, obviously I'm not doing physics like what you are.
Okay.
Explain what he said that was word salad, Peter. Do you know what word salad is? Explain what he said that was word salad. That's very simple.
Something like quantum mechanics refutes Newtonian mechanics.
That is very specifically coherent. All right. So
no, it's not. To anyone who knows physics, it's not. What?
Interferometry.
You don't even know the word.
Okay. I feel like you both
sure were words.
Okay. So,
dude, that's pretty bad look.
Well, hold on.
It is a bad look for you.
All right, hold on, gentlemen.
Dude, stop using the term word salad. You don't know what it means. You know what anticorpuscular rays are?
Well, what? Tell me what they are. Go ahead.
So you called it word salad, but it's just that you don't understand the terms.
It doesn't matter.
So, wait. My question is,
yum.
Dude, what did I say that was word salad?
All of it. You're just saying words.
All of it.
I'm asking you.
You're just saying words.
In a field, particles of opposite charge.
A word salad is basically putting a bunch of words together that are incoherent and don't even logically make sense. It's an incomprehensible, incoherent stringing together of words typically associated with schizophrenia.
Not everybody can be a robot polisher.
You guys always just throw out the accusation of word salad to try to I'm asking.
And welcome everybody to GLOBEBUSTERS Season 11, Episode 10. I'm your host, Jeran from Jeranism. We've also got Zachary Zabal in the house. Zach, ¿cómo estás?
Hey, Jeran, how's it going, man?
Nice to see you. How are you?
Pretty good. It's warm. 95 degrees.
Oh, don't tell me about warm.
Yeah, Fahrenheit. So that's like 32 crazy people.
32?
Yeah.
And we also have Witsit from witsitgetsit, who will be, displaying his stringing together of many words incoherently in random nonsense fashion. And you guys will all just believe that he knows what he's talking about, I guess is what we're supposed to believe. Go ahead, Witsit. How are you?
Good, man. Good. My cover's been blown.
They know they got it. They caught onto your grift already.
Yeah. But yeah, I'm doing good, man. How about yourself?
Doing great. Thank you. Trying to get this screen up there. But yeah, it's just hilarious. I mean, these guys, what is it fun though to make all these guys like cry almost? Like seeing Toon's face in that video is so hilarious. And like Soy Lodge practically crying. I just think it'd be fun to just make people cry like that. Must be somewhat fun.
Yeah, I guess. I mean, it's kind of humorous, but it gets old pretty quick. I'll be honest. I mean, when it's someone new, yeah, I guess it's funny. Like the Soy Lodge thing was funny.
From an observer standpoint, it's funny because at this point, what's hilarious is that now, as a flat earther, we all watch these debates and we know the talking points and we know where it's going. And so when it just happens, and that's just them admitting that's all they have. Like, when are they going to realize that how bad they look by following Toon's lead? Like, that's what they're all doing. They're all just like getting advice. I think he's probably contacting them before every one of your debates and telling them, hey, here's what you got to do. He's doing word salad. He's a liar. He's a grifter. And then it's just obvious. They all have the same talking points. They don't even hear what you're saying. And I think it's becoming more and more obvious to the audience. I think they see it. At least flat earthers.
I fully embrace the word salad thing. Yeah, I said that on the review. I think the word salad tactic is amazing for flat earth because people are like, wait, what? And then if they don't know the words, they can just look them up. And then they're like, so wait, do you guys not have a rebuttal? You know, like, I think it's a huge win.
Yeah, for sure. Hello to everybody in the chat. I was going to check. I'm going to bring this screen over. You can support the show if you want by going to Ko-fi, ko-fi.com/globebusters and support the show that way. You can also use super chats on YouTube and Rockfin tips. So lots of ways to support the show. We got a few things to talk about, but we could start with Austin's awesome debate. We were off for Father's Day last Sunday, so happy Father's Day to one and all if you're a father out there. And let's see, so that was your debate was Saturday, right? Yes, last Saturday. So we haven't had a chance to talk about it here, but hopefully I'm sure everybody saw it. It was kind of unwatchable at the beginning. I mean, most people I talked to too, I said, did you watch it? And they're like, I could only get through 20 minutes. And then I didn't feel so bad that I could only get through 20 minutes. But I did end up watching the whole thing. But it was just, that guy is so bad. I mean, he's like the worst that they have, and they think that he's the best or something. I don't know. Austin, you were saying that if we search flat Earth now, there's other things popping up in front of that. Is that correct?
Yeah, a couple. It still pops up in the top 3 results. It's got like 500,000 views, I think. But yeah, it's or 400,000. It's just there's a couple more that came out since then that are like being propped up even with less views. I don't know. It's weird, but they're all anti-flat Earth pieces, of course. But
of course,
I'm impressed. I would have bet money. The reason I did the quartering was like I need to get it on a big channel because he'll never post it. And he did, and of course, I get why, right? Because he was able to interrupt a lot. It's really easy to control the conversation or to limit what comes out or how much you get exposed when it's like a 2v1. And so he probably actually is convinced that he won or whatever. But
I don't even see it on here. So I searched flat Earth right now. I don't know if you can see the screen. This is why you can't. I haven't seen this. This is from 6 days ago. Have you guys seen this?
I haven't. No, I just saw it pop up.
Millie Bobby Brown, I don't know what that is. Debunking flat Earth in 45 seconds. I'm going to Antarctica to destroy flat Earth.
So you're getting different results than me. When I type in flat Earth, I get.
Let me try and go to.
It's number
incognito.
3.
See what we get there. Weird.
Yeah, and then it's like the next one is Professor Dave Camille's flat Earth, but Dave Weiss. So. I mean, if you type in flat Earth, let's look here. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 of the top 9 are Professor Dave.
Yeah, even they put this one back. I don't even see your debate on here anymore. I'm in.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah,
I'm in incognito window.
And they've destroyed the whole flat Earth and then going into the filters. That's how I used to do it today.
Oh, you can't do that anymore?
You'll still find flat Earth videos, but the very first one that pops up is weirdo Jesus gun babies. Lady says women can't be president because POTUS has to be a butthole.
What?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It's number 3 for me, but at the least, it's got 400,000, and it popped up for a second. I did not expect it, though. I called that on my review. I did not expect it to stay up at the top because there may be some people that are really desperately like want the Earth to be a globe or whatever, and they're going to say I lost. But, dude,
no, I mean,
the average person is not going to say that.
No, and Professor Dave is just sitting there at his computer siphoning through all the comments, too.
Well, I just went, and he's replying to comments from like an hour ago. So I mean,
yeah, he's just sitting there. He's like, sitting there for 4 days.
I mean, check this out. And I commented like the day after I did my review, and I said something about like this guy denied that things will look like they're going in opposite directions if you look at them from opposite directions.
Oh man, it was so ridiculous.
And it has 0 likes, 0 replies, completely buried. Like, it just completely buried 6 days later. So
I mean, that was a good thing too. I mean, he started out, he looked
but-
so dumb. I mean, he's just like, oh, if you put this on the ceiling, it doesn't work. And it's like, yes, it does. You're just seeing it wrong. And he just doesn't get it and thinks he has a good argument. I don't know. I was trying to see.
It's so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, dude, that's the part they're all saying that, because even they know he didn't do that.
So I'm going to bring them in.
Well, you lost at the very beginning because you couldn't even answer the first question. That's what they're all saying. And they're like a cult, so they just all say that same thing. But he lost the first point abysmally. Like, it was embarrassing. And I would think that veteran globe earthers or whatever would be ashamed of that. Like, if you draw a circle on a window, the person outside the house and the person inside the house are going to see the same circle go different ways. One's going to see clockwise, one's going to see counterclockwise because one's looking at it from the opposite direction, right? Like, you can literally just go draw a circle on a window.
Yeah.
When he spun the globe in the camera, for him, it was going the opposite way than it was for the viewer.
Right. That's the answer right there. Yeah. The way I've always described it, which I think is easiest, is that we know that the stars go east to west. And so if you're facing north, your east is on your right. So kind of picture stars going up your right arm, across your head, and to your left. So we know that that's counterclockwise. We're going right to left over the top of our heads. And then all you have to do is turn around and face south. And now the east is on your left side. So now the stars go from your left hand over the top of your head to your right hand, which is clockwise. So that's the easiest way that I've ever been able to explain it to people. And yet it's like this guy doesn't get it at all. It sounded so dumb.
Someone said, I'm having trouble visualizing what Austin was saying about the stars.
Okay, do it again.
Saying different directions. It's like, dude, just take your finger and start moving it in a circle in front of you. And then just lean forward and look at the circle from the other side. Like, literally, you can just do it yourself. Like, it's not, but you said another one. Walking across the street is
the hands of a clock. If you're looking at the hands of a clock one way, like right on, it's going to go clockwise, of course. But if you flip the clock over, it's going to look now like it would be going counterclockwise.
This is the funniest part, though. The globe argument is literally based on that, meaning all the stars move east to west. But on the globe, at one point, you're looking at the same stars from a different direction. Now, on the globe, it's because you're on the other side of the globe. But it's the reason they look like they're moving a different direction is because the direction that you're looking at them has changed. So the ironic part is that they're denying the literal answer for the globe. But yeah, I don't know. To me, that's crazy, but it's whatever. That's a huge win for Flat Earth again, in my opinion. Because I tried to help him and I tried to say, your better question is, why does it look like it moves around a point?
Right.
I was assumed that's what he meant, and he was just saying it wrong. I'm like, what you're trying to say is this is your better point. And he's like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm talking about the directions. And then later on in the debate, he did the same thing. I pointed out, like, it'll look like they converge to a point inside of a little dome. You can replicate it. Anti-corpuscular rays show it. He's like, okay, but that's not my question. My question's about why they look like they're going in different directions. So like, he doubled down on, like, oh, no, I'm not talking about the fact that they're rotating around a point, but the directions that they're going. And now everyone else is running around saying, well, he wasn't asking about that. He was asking about why there's a pole rotation, right? It's like, no, he wasn't. Like, I tried to help him out. And then I started explaining that part of it for the audience in good faith, because I just wanted people that were new to it to at least hear, that we don't avoid that. But yeah, anyway, it felt like it was a rigged fight, basically. Like, he got to go in there with bricks in his gloves and
of course, and the other guy's just like helping out, of course, and didn't want to moderate, which is fantastic for a moderator.
Well, he not only that, he made it to where Dave always got the final word,
right?
And Dave says things that are patently wrong, but with so much confidence that, like, you could think he's right. If he's right about what he's saying, he's right. Then stop the conversation there. Then jump in and deflect every time he's starting to get exposed, and then ask me a completely different gotcha. So it was like crazy. It was crazy, and that it is what it is, bro. I mean, that's why a lot of people didn't want me to do it, but I got emailed the day of. I got emailed the day of, and they basically changed, like, Corbin's like, oh, apparently I forgot about this, but I'm hoping that, like, I'll host, but I'm hoping you guys aren't expecting me to moderate. I'm like, what? dude, I combined us all in email, and that was the only stipulation I had. Was like, I'm pretty chill. It's just like it needs to be fair. Like he can't be allowed to just incessantly interrupt me and constantly just obfuscate and deflect and never let me talk. I just need you to moderate fairly and let me speak. And then he agreed. And then the day of, he's like basically saying he's not going to do that. And he said, but I do have a list of things that we can talk about. And it's just a bunch of like flat earth gotcha questions, like 20 things. I'm like, what? So, and like, obviously I can't back out of the debate, you know, that would look terrible for us. So like I had to go in there anyway. So I kind of knew it was going to be like that. I just didn't know until the day of.
You saw that you pretty drastically flipped the poll.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's funny.
But, you know, this is just a 360 view of star trails, but just showing, you know, basically these stars are, oops, I like this video better. But you can tell these ones are going up this wall again. So we know that that's the east, going up over your head to the west. So that is a clockwise. And then if we go now face the south, oops, no, what am I facing? Now I'm facing the north. And they're coming up my right hand, going to my left, which is counterclockwise. So you can see by just spinning around here, I'm seeing different trails. Now this is going clockwise. Now this is going counterclockwise. So it really is
just, you should be able to think about it in your head. And if you can't, you lack spatial reasoning.
Yeah, that's true. Bob would always say, it reminds me of Bob, right? Bob would always come to me and you and be like, I don't understand spatial reasoning. You couldn't do the 3D, but just remind me of
that. He always had that problem.
Yeah, he could
visualizing things.
In your mind, spin a bicycle tire. So say you got a bicycle hanging up on your garage or whatever.
Right.
You spin the tire. Okay, now it's spinning. You spun it clockwise, so it's spinning, it's spinning. You're going to now walk around to the other side of the bike, turn around, and look at it from that direction. You're going to see the same tire that's been spinning the whole time go counterclockwise. Even though it's just spinning left to right, you spun it left to right, so clockwise for you. If you walked on the other side of the bike and turned around, you're going to see it spinning the opposite way. So just visualize that in your mind.
Right.
Go do it. You know, it's not complicated. And I was one of the most vocal people in Flat Earth that was saying, but look, that's not answering their best question. You know,
Right.
Yeah, all stars move east to west, clockwise, counterclockwise are just relative to perspective. Yeah, that's not a problem for Flat Earth. Everyone that thinks that's a home run is stupid or whatever. I get that. But like, well, their better question is, why does it look like it's going around a pole in the south?
Right.
Exactly.
And I like honed in on trying to answer that and discuss that. You know, I was the first one to say flat earthers shouldn't just uniformly adopt this one answer and then kind of turn their head to the other one. It comes off like disingenuous. And I don't know. It just is what it is. I mean, apparently I realized that you actually do have to give a lot of attention to the first one. Apparently that first part is not as easy to understand as I thought.
No, not until people actually try to do some of this stuff. People, I don't know, some people can do it real easy, and the people that can't, they can't. Like, they just can't until they actually physically see it demonstrated. It's weird.
Well, physically do it then.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like you said, the bike tire one's great. Because everybody, your neighbor's got a bike. Somebody around you's got a bike. Stand it up on, you don't even have to hang it from your garage. Just stand it upside down. Spin the tire. Walk around the other side, look at it.
I'm tripping out if I don't know why this thing says 125% of $200 goal. Maybe I set it up wrong. Has it always said that the whole show? Because I haven't seen any donation like that, which is weird. I might have done it wrong. Anyway, I don't think we're
go. I'll go look at it.
Can you check it out? Just make sure. I did change the goal, but I might have not set it back to 0.
You can't just edit it. You have to set a new one.
Okay. Oh, I see. Well, there's a donation from RG the Artist for $25. Thank you very much. He says, never quit searching for truth. And when people run their mouths and try to attack your character behind your back, then you should leave him right there because that's where they belong. Thank you very much. Yeah, there's some people that I used to respect quite well and used to recommend their channel who, for whatever reason, now have come out and said, of course, that I'm a shill and I'm working with people behind the scenes or whatever. Hey, what can you do? You know, you're never. I remember getting into this whole endeavor and thinking, I'll just be honest, and then people will like me. Talk about being naive. It's like that is. I'll be honest, and then nobody has any. They can't hate me. They'll just love me. No, that's not at all true. So let's think here what we want to discuss. Obviously, the final experiment is on a lot of people's minds. I saw that a couple people are coming out with what is the Tomb of Illumination? I don't know if you guys saw that one. He seems to think. Let me get this up here. Tomb of Elimination, or Tomb of Illumination, I think is his name.
Yeah, L. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this guy. So he's got this video. I haven't had a chance to watch it yet. It's 25 minutes, but it's called The Sun's Projected Mirror Image Seen 24 Hours in Antarctica. So that will be interesting to watch. See what he thinks about a reflected image of the sun, which I do think, again, if people were down there, should be able to easily decipher and figure out if that's what's going on, especially if there's sunspots, which I think kind of we're in a period of time that there's a few right now. So,
by the way, wouldn't you be able to see the real sun and the reflected sun though? Like,
I'd have to watch what he's saying, because I guess what he might be saying is that if his sun gets, let's say this, I don't know if you can see my mouse here.
for us, it's like half.
Oh, sorry. Let me change
Buster's logo.
What you're looking at over here? Oh, yeah, you're not looking at that. YouTube solo. So this picture here, like, let's just say he might be saying if the sun's coming this way, that then somehow it would go over here and reflect over here. I mean, that's why I think that it's just a little insane to think that they can pull that off with people actually down there looking for that. Now, if you're somebody who goes in your tent and goes to sleep at night, you're not going to know. You're in a tent. It's daytime. You're like, oh, it's daytime. The sun must be out. But if people are out there in their sole purpose, and Austin and I have talked, and you said, like, if it was ever us, we would be on like shifts where one of us was always watching. That'd be the only reason to go down there. I don't want to see penguins. I don't want to see any. I don't want to go hiking. I don't want to go anywhere but to stare at the sun and see what it does. But
I would like to measure the electric field, but let me say this real fast.
Yeah.
This is the simplest way, in my opinion, here. Everyone's like, oh, that wouldn't necessarily prove that it's a globe. I agree. It wouldn't technically necessarily do that. I definitely agree. There's a preponderance of evidence of that. But they're like, but this could happen, or it could be this, or it could be that. Wouldn't you want to know if that is something that happens on Earth? So you can therefore factor that in to whatever it is that the Earth is. You trying to figure out, our entire objective is to figure out what's really going on in this realm, what it really is, the best that we can. And if the sun does a full 360 around you in the sky, then if you think it doesn't do that, you're going to have fundamentally different interpretations of the realm. So, like, even on just a basic level as a truther, that's a crucial piece of information that's not currently factored into the equation, right? That would only aid in figuring out what's really going on.
Exactly. The more puzzle pieces you have, the better chance you have of figuring out the actual puzzle. So the ones that fall on the floor and down the vents, you're never going to put the puzzle together if you don't get them.
Yeah, it's I'm looking at the chat here. We had somebody who said they could oops, I just lost it. Said they're going to hypnotize MK Ultra Austin and turn him against the movement. So here's another thing is, like, just, all you guys talking like that, and all the messages I've got that say you guys are going to be killed, you're going to be, just, like, people like you are the reason that we are stuck in the predicament that we are. Because if every time men need to stand up and do something throughout history, imagine that there was a whole team of people telling them, if you try and cross the Atlantic Ocean, you'll die. You're going to die. You'll never make it across. They'll trick you. They'll do that. And just nobody ever did anything because they're all being told constantly, no, don't do it. Don't do it. They're going to trick you. I mean, I get it. I understand where people are coming from. But at the same time, I'm like, so what you're saying is don't go see and just stay in our same predicament. Never make them do anything. I'm into making them, if they think they can fake the sun, make them do it. Make them do it. I mean, that's my opinion. I think that they cannot fake the sun if somebody's down there looking at it. And if they can, then do it. Show me that you can somehow time a perfect projection or some sort of a hot air balloon or some sort of helium balloon carrying a solar simulator. I just don't think those things are realistic. And I hear from a lot of other people that they think that they are. And then I hear people saying that, and I guess I don't believe in proof necessarily. I know a lot of people do. I don't. I think that all you can do is look at claims and see which one better matches the evidence, and that's basically the best you can do. And then you can take a side and say, okay, I'll take this side or I'll take that side. But people all act like, oh, this is called the final experiment, so they think it's going to be... Nothing's final. Nothing's final, ever. Even if I went down there and stood there and watched the sun do a 360 around my head 3 times, so down there for 3 days, like, what the hell? That would be shocking. But then I would come back and I would say, okay, So right now it looks like the evidence leads me to believe that we're probably on a globe. Let's look into it. And then if the next day somebody comes out and says, Jeran, here, look, I figured out how this can work on a flat earth, then I would be immediately a flat earther. The problem with it is that I don't think people understand is that there is no mechanism on the flat earth model or any flat earth model that's ever been presented. And I can say that pretty definitively will be presented because of the fact, unless it's like this guy, Lindsay saying with a reflection, and maybe I'll show it real quick just so people get it, because I still hear people saying or sending me videos of them drawing what they think the sun will do. And they're like, look, I can make the sun go behind you. I'm like, no, not that way. It goes around you the other way. I'll show you what I mean. But I just think that people need to recognize that it is something that isn't explained on our model, and we've known that forever. So I just think people should stand up and say that, like I'm saying, there is no 24-hour sun. And that's why I think the trip won't happen, or they'll cloud up the sky. I think a lot of things, but I don't think that it's as simple as, oh, we'll just go down there and there's a 24-hour sun. Then there would be so many films of it. Then they wouldn't cut the webcam footage. Then they would have undersea. I mean, all the
and
things.
we're gonna have all kinds of different angles and different cameras, and so whatever we see, we now get to give it to the community and all dissect the footage.
Right.
I don't see how that could be a bad thing.
And it's like 3 days.
Have you ever seen footage from there of the sun, like through a solar filter? That's
Never.
what I'm like super interested to see.
I have not.
Never, yeah. So just in this drawing here of the flat earth, I'll kind of move it around so that we get a different look at it, so you can kind of see where the experiment will be taking place. Not an experiment, it's an observation. I agree with you that. Although observations can be very beneficial to our understanding of the realm. So we'll go image, rotate right one more. Okay.
If we only can have scientific experiments and no observation,
yeah,
then you're gonna have to throw out all long distance observations. And so how do you even know the Earth's flat?
Right. I mean, you have to be able to do that. So the supposed place, and I've also heard people say, how do you know you're going to be at the location they say? So just Punta Arenas is down in here somewhere, and everybody has to fly there from wherever they're at. From the takeoff here, it's a 4.5 hour flight. So could we be going this way? Could we be going here? Could we be going here? Sure. Could we be going here? Sure. Could we be going here? Yep. And could we be going here? Yes. No matter where you go, okay, we know that the sun, or the way we believe it, is that the sun comes around in a clockwise fashion this way. When it gets towards December 21st, or towards the winter solstice for us, that the sun's going to be out here on the outskirts. And so it's going to supposedly come this way and arc around. What they say happens is that the sun will do this around our heads 3 days in a row, meaning the sun is here. So that is a problem for our model for many reasons. But number one is, if this is where the sun is at noon, okay, then at midnight, the sun would be here. However, at midnight, the sun needs to be here, lighting up Australia. It's already past noon there. So that is the problem. Now, I've had somebody say, well, it could go behind you like this. And I'm like, no, they say it goes around your head. Remember, the person's going to be standing, move this off. The people in Antarctica would be here. And no matter where they're at, let's say they're here, let's say they're here, let's say they're here. By no means does it make sense that the sun would, let's say we're here. Sun can't go around us here for 3 days. Can't go around us here for 3 days. Can't go around us here. Can't go around anywhere. That's why I'm kind of baffled at the people saying, oh, it doesn't matter. I get it. It doesn't get rid of there's no curvature. It doesn't get rid of everything else that we found. It doesn't get rid of NASA being fake. It doesn't get rid of them not going to the moon. It doesn't get rid of, you name it. But what it does do is it completely, at least in my mind, falsifies the flat earth model that I've been pushing for 9 years. Why have I been pushing this model for 9 years? Because there is no evidence of a 24-hour sun in Antarctica. So to me, I think that there's no chance that you would see it down there. I think that, now again, I've heard some people say, well, it has to rise here and set here. No, it doesn't. We know that with the ray diagrams I've drawn before, that when we bring the sun like this around, we get a arc like this. Okay, now it doesn't go around the person, it goes like this. But so if the sun rises south of east and sets south of west, I mean, it's done for them. If it sets at all, anywhere, we don't even know. I guess Austin was explained before, the cardinal directions don't even matter, because 360 is 360, right? Meaning that, let's say we get down and somebody says, oh, well, actually, they tell you north is the wrong way. Okay, well, then if we turn and look the other way, it still needs to go around our head. So actually, the directions don't even matter, even though those will be easy to figure out. Declination's like 50 degrees, which I believe.
But allegedly,
yeah.
Allegedly, though. See, like the way that we got the declination is by saying, okay, we know this is where geographic south is.
Right.
Therefore, this is the difference in what the compass is saying. We don't actually know the declination. We don't actually see in the north. You can look at Polaris and then your compass, and you can say, look, here's the deviation, right?
Right.
You can verify the declination in the north. Conveniently, it gets way crazier and at very convenient places in the south, and you don't have Polaris. So like nothing about my conclusion or anything that I draw from that trip will be based on cardinal direction. I didn't agree to it because of that, though, because it doesn't matter.
Right.
Because like it's the whole do a full circle around me up in the sky for 24 hours over and over and over, right?
Correct.
That's the part of it. Because the direction part is it's a non-issue for me.
Non-issue. Yeah, I've heard Globers saying, "Oh, it needs to rise at 45 degrees and set at." No, it doesn't. If it rises or sets at all, the globe model is falsified. So, again, I see why people, and we can take some calls later if we want, but I see why people are frustrated by it or upset by it, or they think that there's some sort of deception, and I get it. And I'm not saying I'm the right person to go down there. I think that there's probably better people to go down there, but at the same time, I would love to, because I would like to see that, and I would like to force them to fake it. If they're going to fake it, do that. But to just dismiss it completely, I think is just not a good look. Well, why are we dismissing observations if we can make them? Now, I get it if we're dismissing one because the government comes back with it, or some nobody, or some guy who's done, this Robert, whatever his name is, that does all these 24-hour footages. Then I get it. But when it's somebody of our own who's going to go down there, I think we should be happy that that's happening. It's been 9 years. Nobody's ever gone to Antarctica. Nobody's ever gone to the north or south. So I feel like we don't have good evidence from either place. Well, Daryl Marble went to the north. Did you guys ever see that one?
No.
He went to the north and filmed. Excuse me, sorry. He went to the north and filmed the 24-hour sun there. And Bob told me he's seen it 2 or 3 times from northern Alaska. He said it's absolutely 100% that happens. We've seen tons of video of that happening. And again, just showing in our model that, and why I say it, I don't think we'll find a flat model that calls for that. That's why I don't think it happens, is because in any flat Earth model that we've ever seen, Antarctica is pushed out to the south, is the outskirts. So at no point would there ever be a reason for the sun to go around that person, at least that I've seen. And again, I'm totally open to being wrong. Somebody please show us. But I don't think we even need to worry about it because nobody's seen it before. So, like, why are we worrying about it? And why, I hear everybody crying about the name of it. It's a final experiment. Don't call it that then. Just say the observation in Antarctica. You don't need to call it the final experiment just because the person who came up with it named it that. But I think it's a good observation because it is the one difference. There's a lot of things on Globe Earth and Flat Earth that both models try to explain, right? Meaning sunsets. Okay, both people try to explain it a certain way. All the observations most of them have an explanation that Flat Earth uses and an explanation that Globe Earth uses, and they're both kind of the same, or they both can explain it. But this is one where we've known for a long time that the South is different. So Dave Weiss talks about flying a plane along the equator and seeing he wants to go way south like here and start flying west. If you do that on a globe, you should peel to the left. On a flat Earth, you would peel to the right. So, he talks about getting the gyroscope lined up, and that's a great idea. Why? Because there's the difference between the two models is the south. So that is where the differences are that are vast. We know pretty much everything within the equator in the north is pretty much the same, right? There's really not a lot that can be determined there. The equator is another one that is definitely different because on a flat Earth, the equator is a circle, and on a globe Earth, the equator would be a straight line. But that'd be very difficult to determine. Again, you can't just fly straight. People think that you could just say that, like, just get in a plane and fly straight. Well, what do you mean by that? Fly straight? What? Because you would never notice if you're in a plane and you do a turn that takes you on a circle around the Earth. You just never know that. It's too minute. We've talked about it before, like a 200-mile circle, a freeway. If there was no determining factors, like no background mountains or trees or whatever, you could drive in that 200-mile circle and never really feel like you turned your wheel at all. And yet,
it looks straight.
Yeah, the entire road would be straight.
Showed us that before.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's where but those are really the differences. And then you've got the supposed 24-hour sun in the south, which to me there's no evidence of. Why would that? I mean, I don't even want to start thinking about something that hasn't been seen yet. But if I did, I would start immediately thinking, like, let's say I went down there and saw the sun go around my head 3 days. I would be like, okay, who is behind this psyop now? Who purposely didn't put out webcam footage in the South so that we would think that it was fake, right? Like, who purposely did all these things? It would have to be a reason behind it. There's just no way that that would happen. Nobody just won't put a 24-hour sun on our video from webcams from Antarctica. Just would never happen. So
that's why I don't think they're even going to let you guys go down there.
No, I don't think it'll happen.
Maybe they'll just say the camping thing is done for this year because of so and so, whatever.
Yeah, of course. Bird flu. So, and that's what I'm saying though. Jeran and I are a lot alike though. That's why we are like. That's why we work together. That's why we're homies, even though we have some, big disagreements about something, because we're just both the same. We're like, we mean what we say, and we'll admit if we are wrong, and we have the same energy about this. It's just like, why would we be scared? Like, call their bluff. Let's go there and see what happens. We both just want to know the truth. It is very simple. Someone said something about a stereographic projection. Jeran, stop lying. Like, what? Okay, dude, have you ever looked at all the other observations and tried to explain them on a stereographic projection? There are multiple different quote-unquote stereographic projections. I know all about it. There are some that have like 4 little quadrants. People have tried to explain it. But then if you were, say, going to circumnavigate east to west on a ship, then you would see an entire shift to a whole new quadrant of the sky. We don't see that.
Right.
The stereographic projection doesn't work for many reasons, not to mention you'd be invoking 4 different suns anyway. So that doesn't work. So no one's lying. He just maybe knows that what you're saying doesn't work.
Okay? Jeran has been shown, and he pretends that he hasn't seen it. I think he's butthurt because they called him out on the AE model not working. What do you mean Jeran has been shown what? And he pretends
he's talking about the stereographic projection.
I've seen it. Yeah, I've seen it. What do you mean? There's no substance there. What you guys have done is taken a globe model, and I'll bring it up here, show you, that it's simply, you just taken a globe model and said, oh, this is the flat Earth, but then it requires a Pac-Man sun. I don't know what else to call it. They just say that for each person, there's 8 billion suns, and that it rises out of the ground and into the ground for each person. That's crazy. Again, I'm not willing to go to the simulation yet. Eventually, maybe one day, who knows? But right now, to me, I think that would be kind of futile. Imagine if Mario and Luigi were trying to figure out the physics of how their world works inside the video game. That would be pretty embarrassing because they're not going to figure it out. They're just going to keep trying, and they're going to get confused, and they don't realize that the next level doesn't render until they actually get there, right? Like, it would be kind of ridiculous for them to have to try and explain that. Let me see if this is it here. Is this the one?
He said it's a coordinate system. That's it. I know. I sat in a room full of flat earthers and critically assessed it for hours. It doesn't work for many ways. I just gave you the most concise way to know it doesn't work. For those who don't know, there are multiple ones, but typically what they show you is there are basically 4 quadrants. It's like, take your globe, cut it open, lay it out. You're going to have like what looks like little leaves, 4 leaves. You're going to have huge gaps between them. And then they put like, you have a rotation in each one of the 4. Now, there's multiple ones, but this is the one I've always seen. And they're like, okay, well, look, technically you could have the 4 different polar rotations, et cetera, et cetera. If you were to get in a boat and start sailing east or west in the Southern Ocean, what that would mean is as you're looking at the sky, once you get through one quadrant, you're going to then transition into a whole new sky. You're not going to be able to follow the stars throughout the whole sky. It's going to be a whole new sky. And if it's just even duplicates in quadrants, it's still going to transition over to the beginning of the next duplicate. I mean, a lot of this requires visualization, but
yeah.
I'm just saying like that doesn't work. We've looked into it. Someone said, I won't lie, I agree with Jeran at first, but even a 24-hour sun wouldn't make me deny FE. It would make me ditch our understanding of the sun. There is just far too much evidence everywhere else. I think that we've kind of articulated that we agree. I mean, I agree that I wouldn't just say, I even said this in the Professor Dave debate. I'm like, I wouldn't just say, oh, I know for sure the Earth's a spinning globe all of a sudden. The spinning part it's dead, bro. And all the evidence doesn't just go out the window with one celestial observation, but it would make me go back to the drawing board and have to understand what exactly is going on until once again I get to a conclusion I think satisfies the preponderance of evidence, as Bob would say. That's why I don't understand why people are scared of it. I guess they're scared of the fact they know that probably the typical reaction of the average person would be like, okay, flat earth disproven, but who cares? I mean, who cares what people think, man? Like you sound, if you're trying to stop this from happening, it sounds like you're kind of acting the same way that like controllers do. It's like, well, if we just prevent this evidence from coming to light or whatever, then we can keep pushing a certain narrative.
Right.
That's just super weird.
That's weird to me. That's what I don't want to be a part of, is that I don't want to push the AE map or talk about it or anything if we can falsify it. And so I get what that person just said. Let me look at this person here. She said, man, this chat's moving fast. I thought I saw it in green. Here's right here. Six string slinger says, I won't lie. Agreed with Jeran. Oh, wait, sorry. Not that one. The next one. This one was, I don't see a 24-hour sun being possible, but it's just too much for me to put all my eggs in one basket like that. I don't know, especially with these deceivers go. So the problem with that is that I do think that the sign of a good theory is something that's falsifiable, right? And this is what I've spent 9 years saying, that the globe Earth is not falsifiable, because there isn't anything that they'll accept as being like, well, if we don't see this, then doesn't that tell us anything? Whereas I don't mind saying that there is pieces of our puzzle that are falsifiable. That's just me. One of them being a sun that goes around you in Antarctica. Now, it doesn't mean that the Earth isn't flat. It could mean that there's another way. But if nobody provides that, or if I can't think of that, then I think that you'd have to say, if you're being honest, well, the evidence seems to show. Because here's the other thing: could God have created some sort of a simulation that makes us think we're on a ball? Because really, there's no other explanation. Not that, and I keep saying that, and I'm talking about my opinion. I'm not speaking on behalf of anybody else, because maybe they do have a way. But I'm just saying, for me, there isn't a good explanation for a 24-hour sun that goes behind you in any flat map. Because the only thing that kind of works, I mean, think about it. In the north, we know the sun goes left to right. We know that for a couple months a year in the north, they see the 360-degree sun going around them. If 6 months later, there is the opposite of that, a sun in the south going around an observer there, the other direction, right to left, to me, I don't know how we can, how I would be able to say, oh, well, now I know that it's still, I know that it's flat. Because the first question somebody's going to ask me is, well, how does the Earth work? How does it? And if I can just say I have no idea. But to me, I'd rather have a working model, which is what I think we do have. I do think that every observation that I've seen or looked into does work on an AE map, at least for the most part, right? I mean, if you're talking about the exact shape of continents, and I mean, again, I'm not going to figure that out. I'm not a survey team or anything like that. But this is the stereographic that I've seen some people use, and all this is the globe mathematics and times and azimuth and all this stuff. It's straight from the globe. But they're like, well, look, it's flat. This ground is flat, and no matter where you go on this map, if let's say we move this guy to here, look, it's still flat, and we move it over here to California, and look, it's still flat. And they actually say that it's a simulation, stereographic simulation, and that the sun actually, let me see, I forgot how you did date and time, yeah, and that the sun actually rises out of the ground and sets into the ground for each observer. Now, you can believe that if you want, but you're not going to get me on board. I mean, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all. You're talking, so each person just sees their own world go around them, but they're not talking about when we say like a personal atmospheric dome, they're talking about literally that each person sees their own. They really mean that.
There's a Rick and Morty edge to where, if you're not there, it's just space.
Well, I mean, look at this. Let me keep going this way, and you can just keep, it's Pac-Man. How would you go?
Let me address something else that people always say. So, like when we show the 24-hour sunlight, and they're like, "Oh, well, that would require the sun to be outside the dome." Oh, first of all, and I said in the debate, like, what if there are layers? But further than that, that's not even true.
No.
So, if you take a flashlight to the dome from the outside, it'll wrap all the way around it. If you take your flashlight and put it inside the dome and shine the light at the dome from the inside, it'll wrap all the way around it. The sun obviously emits light in all directions, right? So, if the sun was inside a dome, it would still cause 24-hour sunlight wrapped around the entire edge of a dome. Okay, so please stop saying that. That isn't true. The sun can be inside the dome, outside the dome, inside layers of a dome, whatever. And in theory, you could say maybe there's another way it happens, but when you invoke a dome, all of a sudden everything starts falling in place, including the distribution of light, the seasons, the day and night cycle, and the 24-hour sunlight in the south. So Just so people know, it doesn't have to be outside of a dome.
No, this is inside right here. This is
do it yourself.
Just inside one bit of atmosphere, and you'll see as the sun gets too close to the outside, it then lights the entire thing.
Yep, there you go. Exactly, and it's pretty simple because it's the actual contour, it's the dome itself that's causing it to happen. So if the light's hitting it within that shape, it's going to cause the coffee cup caustic, right? It doesn't matter if the light source is inside or out.
Yep, and so so people, I always hear that too, and it's like no, and I think Duffy's at least said it numerous times in his interviews, so I know that he is understanding of it. But that 24 hours of light doesn't invalidate our model at all. You know, that's I expect that. That's what I believe happens. So I don't expect that it gets dark. I expect it to be light there the whole time. But I think as the sun comes around here, right, if it hits this outside piece and it's like this, then all this area is going to be in daylight. But you just wouldn't see the sun unless somehow you're able to, again, off some sort of, I tried before, and people can play with this. Again, go to phydemo, phydemo.app/ray-optics /simulator and play with this, because what you can do is start grabbing, maybe there's a mirror for all we know. Maybe the dome is a mirror. So grab that, do circular arc. Now let's put this mirror down like this. Okay, now look at, now you've got something happening here where the sun's coming this way, but when I try and do it, I can't get the sun to go the other way on this wall. Now, if you go up here, you can change it to seen by observer, or you can go to all images here, and you'll notice this is showing you, I forgot the colors. So it says, not that one, this one here. Where does it say the colors? Oh, right there. Show the position of images. Yellow points indicate real images. Orange indicates virtual images. And gray indicates virtual objects. So virtual images would be, you're looking in a mirror and you see that item is a virtual image. So we can look for, I just read it what it was, orange? Orange is virtual. Right, so as this sun's going here, these people would see lots of virtual suns, which we've seen before in the Arctic and Antarctic when they've got these sun dogs and things like that. But it's hard for me to get something to go this direction on this wall. Because that's basically, imagine this is the flat Earth. You've got somebody standing in the south, which we just showed you. The sun comes by here, and then, oops, didn't mean to do that. And then somehow we have to get an image going this way. So again, I don't even want to tell people to work on this because we haven't seen anything yet. So there's no really use doing that. I mean, if we came back and said, you know what, we saw a 24-hour sun, then we better get to the drawing board and see if there's some explanation for it. But again, we haven't got there yet. So I don't see a reason to cry about it or to dismiss it completely. Like, why would we just dismiss it when it's some observation that none of us have seen yet? So for 9 years, we've been talking about it. Nobody's seen it. Now there's an opportunity for somebody to see it, and everyone's like, doesn't matter. I just don't think that's the.
I know,
the
it's
best
just
look.
so disingenuous.
Yeah.
What I will say is, there are a couple of things you can do here where the sun will go behind the observer, but it basically reverses direction. I guess in theory, it's like, would people really be paying close enough attention, and there is a sun in the sky a lot of the day, and they're just like, oh yeah, that must be where it's supposed to be or whatever. Well, we're gonna know,
right?
Like, there's no way the sun's going to transition from us seeing it to some type of reflection behind us and change direction, and we not know, right? I mean, we're gonna be tracking the sun. Just do a 360 around us. So, yeah, I don't know. I don't.
Yeah, I don't
know a way it would work.
No, and then the good thing is that we are going to be keeping our eye on it, so that, let's say that we get there and then all of a sudden we see some clouds, and let's say we're looking like this is our cardinal directions here, let's just say, and we see some clouds appearing here, and then all of a sudden there's the sun in the sky. Okay, and it works its way across here, and then right at this point clouds happen again, and then it kind of comes out this way, and we go, wait, that's weird. Those two locations, let's watch those exact spots and see if tomorrow the same thing happens. Sure enough, here comes the sun around here, and then the next day, right when it gets here, it gets cloudy again here, and then out pops the sun, and then here it gets cloudy and out pops the sun. Those things are going to be obvious. You want us to see that. We want to go down and see that. Whatever they're doing down there, that is not something I should be able to predict today. Like, oh, I bet you every day right here and here, the sun rises the clouds come right before the rise and set. That would be weird. And if the entire time the sun's behind you, imagine if it's just cloudy sky and you only see this faint light behind the clouds. That is evidence that I think we want to see. Crazy Doug, thank you very much for a $20 donation. He says, I wish Bob were here to explain this whole topic to people. He definitely had a gift of helping folks understand. Bob did. I'm not nearly as good. He could explain it, and he helped me see some things I couldn't see for a long time by explaining it slowly and just really getting it out there. Thanks, Doug. Appreciate that. But hopefully that makes sense. Is that if you want to be down there, you want to have somebody down there watching, who's watching complete time. I mean, really, we should have no reason to not have basically a 72-hour film, where it's just the sun doing what the sun is doing. And this way it can be brought back and everybody can look at it and everybody can dissect it. And I mean, hopefully people know Austin and I, again, people are like, oh, but Jeran, you were part of the behind the curve, activity. And it's like, yeah, I got screwed by those people. And could these people be doing the same thing? Who knows? Who knows? But they would have to fake the sun. So that is not an easy task, if at all possible. I know there's patents for sun simulators, but those are like in a warehouse. They're not in the sky being carried around 360 degrees behind your head in the actual sky. That's much more difficult, I think, than, and again, if it's not, then I want to see them do it, because we should be able to look
still,
through.
what does that even mean, though? Like, if there's a sun simulator, then the actual sun's going to start moving away from you, and then is it going to start setting, and then all of a sudden they transition to the simulator?
That's what they think. They think, so like, if the sun's coming this way, right, and right here we see the clouds come, and, well, let's say right here, that this would be the real sun that we see, and then it's about to set, the clouds come, and then out of that comes some sun simulator that works its way around our backs and shows up here, and then the clouds would have to come again for them to do the transition. So that's what I mean. That's great evidence. There's no chance of that we're like, we would even be able to predict that. Like, wait, I bet you right here is exactly when the clouds will come, watch, and then here comes the clouds. There it is. They're replacing the sun. I mean, we would see that. They can't do it in real time.
We're gonna have like infrared and solar filters looking at this sun simulator anyway. I don't even.
Yeah, how would that even work? And if it is a mirror reflection, that's another thing I think that would, as long as there's sunspots, say the sun's coming this way, and we've got sunspot here and here, and it starts going off this way, but we see a reflection of it here. Well, then you're going to see the alternate view of the sunspots because it's a mirror reflection. So right away, you would know in an instant. You turn around and be like, that's not the sun. It's a reversed image. So why wouldn't we want to see that? Why wouldn't we want to at least force them? Because here's the thing. I'm not into this always being afraid, because when you are, you don't force them to do anything. Imagine if you're just the elite and you're like, if we just scare everybody to death and they think we're going to kill everybody and they think we're going to crash planes if Jeran and Austin go down there, then we never have to do anything because people just won't go anywhere and they will never challenge us. So I feel like, I'm not trying to be a martyr. Trust me, I don't want to do that. But I'm saying that if they're going to kill me, then do it.
People say the same thing to me about doing activism in front of the White House. People say the same thing to me about doing my Israel streams. It's like,
yeah, they all want to stop you, don't they?
Shut up.
Yeah, I don't get that. I mean, and I hate to say that is the reason why we're in the predicament that we are. But imagine, like, again, if everybody was trying to leave Britain and start a new country, and people were like telling them, no, don't do that. They'll kill you. They're going to kill you. They're going to do this. They'll never let you get away. They'll never let you start a new country over there. They'll never let you get away from the king and queen. If that was constant to all these people in history, how many things wouldn't have happened? And I feel like now it's like constant.
You're the gatekeeper.
Right. You're stopping it from happening. Right. And that's the scary thing is I don't want to be that guy. I want to be the guy that says, make them do it. Prove it. Show us. Show me. And I've said that all before, is that this is where I've had the most success, is when I just say, show it to me. And they never can. Show me how you do this. Show me how you do that. They can't do it. So again, and we go looking into other people who did it, like, oh, well, the South Pole Foucault's pendulum shows the Earth's occur. You go look at it, and it's the biggest joke ever. You just have to read into it and see what they actually did. And it's like, they get down there like, oh, the first time it spun the wrong direction. So then we made some adjustments, and then we did it, and it spun twice in a day. So we did some corrections, and then we came back, and then finally it did what it was supposed to do. And there's your evidence. There's your proof. After they jimmy rigged the experiment the entire time to get the Foucault's pendulum to go around once in a day, the correct direction. So again, that's what happens when you actually dig into these things. If we just allow them to say, oh, that's done. Oh, they've already observed it. I feel like then we're giving into them. So I just feel like it's important that and it doesn't have to be me. It could be anybody. If the community would prefer somebody else, pick somebody else. I hope it's somebody I trust so that they can go down there and actually get good footage that then they can come back and I can observe. Why would I be against that? I can't imagine being like, no, don't go. Like, I feel like people want to be locked into this. They like the feeling of like, no, the elite will always defeat us and we will always be behind and we'll never actually get up on them. Well, if that's your attitude, I mean, What are you doing for your children? Like, I've got children.
I think it also removes personal accountability. Like, people like to blame like the Jays for everything, and it's like, no, actually, like you have to do things yourself. Take responsibility. You know, I think what also is people are overlooking here is just like the risk reward assessment would be so incompetent to be like, okay, let's fake the sun down there.
Right. What if they get caught doing that?
Yeah, like, dude, if there would be way better off just to make sure the trip doesn't happen, make it really cloudy, whatever, because like they already have a lot of people deceived. Flat Earth is fighting this uphill battle. You take the risk of us catching you faking it, you've blown the lid off of your lie. So it doesn't even make logical sense that they would do that.
I guess David Banner says, I don't buy into models. The Earth's demonstrably level. The truth is we don't know its dimensions. So that may be true. I mean, I think that not buying into models is, I don't know why we'd say that already. Why not? Why not have an idea of how the world works? I mean, that's important to me. I mean, if we, in this walk, at least in this line of business, that is important, is how does the world work? And so if I'm telling everybody, oh, this map that you see on the screen here is what I think the Earth is, but there's an observation that completely falsifies it, it's okay to say, oh, there's an observation that falsifies it. I just don't see a problem with that. Now, it doesn't mean that, oh, immediately I believe that the moon landings happened and I believe that we were flying through space 1.2 million miles per hour. And no, it means that if you're going where evidence takes you, to me, I would have to come back and say, you know what? The evidence that we saw matches the globe. The globe predicts that, and that's what we saw. Again, people hear me saying that, and they, for some reason, then immediately jump to this idea that I'm saying that already. I'm not. I don't think it happens. I mean, how many times do I have to tell you? I've already said exactly what will happen down there. If we go down there, they will muck up the sky for 3 or 4 days, which is, all Globers would accept that. They would all be like, yeah, well, sometimes it's cloudy in the middle of summer in Antarctica. You don't know. And then Duffy would lose $160,000 or whatever it is, and that would deter anybody from going down there again. The next year, you think somebody's going to go and put up $160,000 to go down there if the year before we went down there and all we saw was clouds for 4 days? No freaking way. So that's their best method. That's their best out, because it would essentially kind of shame Duffy. I mean, he would just lose that money. He didn't get to see anything. We don't get to prove anything. And then it discourages people from doing it again. That's
or literally just any excuse that cancels the trip. Like,
yeah.
Right now, Duffy's saying that would be a huge win for Flat Earth. Dude, no, it wouldn't. Right? I mean, sure, it would be a win, but do you think that these people are gonna admit that that's super sketchy? Like, all of a sudden, use pattern recognition and logic to acknowledge that something's not adding up? Of course, they're not. Like, they pretended that it never happened when they claimed they were going to go the first time and stole the money, or when they claimed they were going to circumnavigate and change the route, when they claimed they were going to fly us on a plane and said, "What? I'm not flying you. I'm not going to tell you the airliner I work for." They never, like, how many sketchy things have happened with Antarctica?
So many.
Right? Where they're all sticking their chest out and they just completely pretend it never happened every time. They would do the same thing with this. They whatever excuse they gave, they would be like, they would really sell it and double down on it. The same people that were like, oh, well, that's what the science was saying at the time, you know, with the other situations. So it's like, let's not fool ourselves, right? I mean, flat earthers will know, we'll be like, well, of course, this is just added to the long list of times that this has happened. But it's not going to be like this huge win. Like, that's the safest route for them right there, is just never let it happen. Come up with some excuse, right? Like, whatever it is, any excuse, whether it be health things, some type of illness. And you can't have people go there during that. I'm sure they weren't doing this during the whole pandemic, right? So
no way.
There are many different cover stories they can have. Even if it's last minute, the weather's really bad, it's too dangerous.
Well, I showed a video of a guy who went, and the plane, which is like 3 seats on each side of the plane, it's ALE's plane, and it left Punta Arenas with like 4 people on board. So it's like, if that happens like this, like if nobody's going, they're just going to cancel the trip. Why would you? They're not going to go down there with like just a few people. And even if there is half the things booked, they could easily just say, no, we're not going down there. I'm going to start a Q&A on the YouTube side. I think I know how to do this. Let's see if it works. So we can answer some of your questions rather than me thumbing through all these various comments. So please, if you have a question or comment, give it us, and we'd be happy to answer it. We'll see if any come in. I don't know how this works.
All right, let me address the second time you said it. I heard you must stay in your tent 8 hours a day. Is that true? If so, cancel. No point, dude. Jeran's the one that discovered that. Talked to him about it. They said that they would allow us out of the tent. So
right. So that's what, and Duffy said that too, that he got permission again. And I've heard people say, well, how do you know that's true? Well, I don't think Duffy's going to spend money to send us down there. We get down there and then he's like, just kidding. You have to stay in your tent. How is that?
That would be a huge win. Right. And what are they going to do? Arrest me if I step outside the tent? Because I will.
Effed Up World says, what if there is no they? There could be no they. I mean, I think that there is a pretty good big group of people, or pretty elite group of people that probably we don't know their names, that hide in the shadows and orchestrate a lot of what you see on Earth and a lot of what's going on. It's the way that they keep people enslaved. They've been doing it for years, and they have like multiple generation of thoughts, right? So they're thinking hundreds of years ahead, where nobody would ever think that way, and they're able to stay in front of us, and they orchestrate things, and they co-opt things, and they do psychological operations. I think that's the day. November says you're not going if Duffy doesn't go, right? I think that's the position of Austin, right?
Yeah. Non-negotiable.
Yeah, I think he needs to go. And from everything I've heard, he was originally planning on going. And so, I just said I wasn't going to go alone. I didn't want to go down and be like, Jeran had a heart attack. Great. And so I didn't know that he was giving his position. I didn't even know he was going. So then when I said, well, I want somebody else, Austin won second place, or we were tied or whatever. So that's where that is. How are you guys going to protect your evidence and footage on the trip back home? So I don't know what that means. Like, so you think we'd go down there, film the sun setting, and then we'd be coming back with our cameras, and like somebody would jack us for the footage? I mean, that would be pretty big evidence.
No, if anything, they would, like, while you're putting it through a scanner or something, turn the magnet up on the thing or something like that crazy to try to destroy your footage. But no, I don't think they're going to confiscate it. That's
we also have things like the iCloud and things. I mean, I don't know. I guess
it's still a huge win.
Yeah,
still a huge win. Yeah,
those are huge wins. Canceling the trip, I mean, sure, it's a win, but like not letting us get out of the tent. Confiscating our footage, and people were like, "Oh, they're going to threaten your family." It's like
that's not going to work for us. I mean, it's how does that? I mean, if that happens again, you're going to notice. I mean, we're going to. I don't know if the trip can be determined to be legit. Don't you think that the best thing for flat Earth?
Look like the NASA astronaut. Sorry, Jared.
What'd you say?
You guys would come back looking like the astronauts,
sitting there.
I've already talked to people. I already have specific phrases to say.
That's funny. So have I. I've already said it to people.
Literally.
People know. People know if I've been compromised because I'll say certain things. If the trip can be determined to be legit, don't you think the best thing for flat Earth, regardless of outcomes and excuses, that someone should absolutely go? Yes. If the trip can be determined to be legit, and here's the thing, like let's say it's Austin and I. And I'm not saying we've agreed or anything. I'm just saying if it is us, we're not paying a penny. So there is no possibility that like, oh, they string us along and okay, well then we just don't go. And it's not our money. So if they string us along to the point I got to go buy winter clothes and I go buy winter clothes and then they say we're not going, I didn't pay for them. So I don't see a reason why you wouldn't entertain it. Let's just say that. I know a lot of people think they found different things on Duffy. I've tried to tell people, I mean, I don't want to throw him under the bus because I know that, I'm not throwing him under the bus, but I know that Globers would get pissed. But the guy is an anti-vaxxer. He didn't get the COVID shot. He doesn't have his kids vaccinated. He is a geocentrist, most likely. He said he believes we went to the moon. Got to talk to him about that one. But he's an anti-abortion activist. And I'm not saying all those things mean that he's the end all be all. I'm just saying he's a little bit more on our side than I think people are giving him credit for. People are like, oh, he used to be a financial guy and now he's a pastor. Yeah, he has a story for that he used to work in finance and then Bob Enyart died and then he took over being a pastor at his church. Like that's what he's already said that. So you're not doing a good investigation to make videos like, oh, he's actually this or that. Okay. Where are we at here? If the trip,
I mean, I think see, to me, my intuition is that he doesn't believe in flat Earth.
Me too.
But that he resonates with a lot of the stuff that a lot of flat earthers say. And he's kind of like, okay, we need to, if this is like some type of distraction or psyop or this is wrong, it's discrediting a lot of the other truth or whatever. Right. And he's just genuinely curious about it. he thinks he came up with a creative way that kind of both sides would agree to go do something that would help figure it out. I don't know why everyone seems to be so traumatized that they think it's actually impossible that anyone operates in good faith. And I don't agree with that. I will say major loss of credibility and points with not just cooperating with McToon, but like still defending him kind of thing. But, you know, I still leave the first option open. I've seen really cool people be really lame about this topic. And like McToon is like, it's like the cope. He's like, you go to get your copium.
Right.
You know, he's like the doctor that prescribes copium.
Yep.
And
just says Austin lies about everything, lies about anything he's ever said. The good thing is
it's real nice to him. You know, he's not showing his snake evil side, and I doubt the guy goes and watches McToon.
I don't really think he does
but
either.
that's why to erase that part of it, I listed out the things that dude's done to me, and just some of them, right?
Good.
Where any logical, normal person, if they read, I took the time to type it out on X. If you read some of the stuff that McToon's done to me and my family over the years, like,
yeah, it's
you
insane.
cannot defend him.
No, and I've said before, I mean, the way that he acts is like an unhinged person that needs to take a break from YouTube. If any one of you acted like he acted, I would tell you guys on the side, like, hey, you know, can you take a couple of weeks off, Austin, because you're losing it. We need you losing it. That's how bad it's gotten. So, and again, I saw Duffy being interviewed by some guy, and basically the guy says, well, I don't know why you trust Witsit. He just lies all the time. This guy just repeats everything McToon says. He just lies all the time. And then Duffy said, like, I have not heard Austin lie. Like, I can't say that. You know. So what made me at least a little tinge there is that if he was really McToon's lackey or something, he would never say that, because it's the complete opposite of what Toon says. To say
he would at least say like,
yeah, he lies sometimes.
Yeah,
you know,
well, he's one of the guys for them, or whatever.
Right. But instead, it's just, I've never seen him. So you got somebody that we think are friends, but somebody says he lies about everything, and then somebody else says, I've never heard him lie. So those things are enough to me that maybe he kind of distanced himself. I don't know the whole story, obviously, but that is probably the blemish on him.
But I will say, I was disappointed in his response on Twitter. I'm not gonna lie, but I also know I was being like really, really almost like borderline aggressive with him.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm like, dude, if you just even listen to McToon, you should have pattern recognition enough to know that the dude's deceptive and just gross and, you know, whatever. But like when I text him and stuff, I'm like very like blunt with him, but like he seems like a genuine person.
He seems genuine. But I could be wrong.
Like I could be wrong as well, but I'm just saying that I'm like, dude, I basically gave you the best advertisement you could ask for by kind of pushing it and saying I would go on the biggest flat Earth debate that's ever happened.
Right.
You know, and like it's just not priority for me right now. I'm trying to get a bunch of stuff in order before my second child gets here. So, you know, like quickly rushing to do some stream to talk about something that happened in December and going to Antarctica isn't like necessarily priority for me, but we can do something in the future. And he's like been really cool about it all, you know? So like I don't.
And Austin and I are in the same predicament, right? Like if he had to choose somebody else, it's okay. I mean, it's not like we're clamoring for the spot or anything like that. It's his deal. If the people voted for us, I'm open to it. I already gave my conditions. And if it's not me, if he chooses to go with somebody else or doesn't want to pay for two people and somebody else says they'll go by themselves, whatever, that's his deal. So anyway, I mean, somebody did ask me like, weren't you asking him what's going on with his money, where his money came from? And I think that's a legit question for anybody. Maybe it was Duffy who said in an interview, he's like, why have none of the flat earthers gone after Flat Earth Millionaire and asked him where he gets his money from? And I'm like, because he's never offered to give me $45,000.
I know where it's
yeah. So if he did, maybe I would ask him where he got it from. But since he hasn't offered to give me $10, then I have no reason to. Duffy came along, says, hey, I'll send you to Antarctica. I'll pay for your way. So of course I'm going to ask the question of, where's this money coming from? Obviously, if you're a preacher, either it's coming from your parishioners or you've had money before. So anyway, let me get to these questions before we get too far out. He says, whoever goes to Antarctica to record also have other reliable flat earthers record the sun trajectory in the USA and other parts of the world. Well, definitely in the South would be important. Jeran, can you handle 5 days with McKeegan? It's going to be tough. That would be impossible. Luckily, that's why I've said, I mean, can you imagine going by yourself and having to tent with him? I mean, that's unheard of. Let's see here. Do you guys remember an experiment that was done with apertures that were connected to each other on a beach with apertures? They were connected to each other on a beach, and they'd take one from one end and put the other and then keep going for miles. Oh, the rectilineator experiment? I don't know if that's what you're talking about. What was the guy's name? Stephen Christ, remember that guy? Didn't he die or something? Maybe
I thought I heard that.
I thought he died. But he used to have that model where we were inside the Earth and the Earth curved upwards, or concave, and they did some experiment like that, but I don't know, they didn't like the results or something. And then there was a guy, Simon Reed or something his name was, I can't remember exactly his name. He was a former pusher of that model, and he supposedly did it and proved that the Earth curves upward. But again, for me, that's like saying there's people upside down above me now instead of below me. So I don't know if that's the one you're talking about. Eric says, wouldn't there be a southern pole star and a completely different set of constellations if the Earth were a globe? Also, for us smooth brains, could somebody make a diagram regarding star rotation? Wouldn't there be a southern pole star? Yes, but we won't be there when it's nighttime, so we won't be able to see any stars. And a completely different set of constellations if the Earth were a globe. I think that's what the globe says, but we just think that there's different constellations for people out here than there is for people in here, and you get too far away to see them. And could you please do a diagram? Okay, so if the stars are rotating here, east to west, and this person is facing north, then the stars rise in the east, set in the west. What direction is that? That's counterclockwise. And then if they face south, and now they rise on the east and set in the west, what direction is this? It's if you kind of turn around and picture yourself looking at this was clockwise. I know that is clockwise, no matter which way you look at it. So hopefully that's what you're talking about. We've got Kyle Solar says, what would stop them from using footage from the North Pole? Okay, that makes no sense.
We're going in person.
And the North Pole goes the other direction.
And it'll be dark.
People are like, you're not going to know where you are. Where are they going to take me? Where there's 24-hour sun?
It'll be dark in the north.
He flies down here. We fly here. This is Punta Arenas. We have to go to Punta Arenas, and we'll be there, and then it's a 4.5-hour flight. So you're really not going to be able to go much outside of, this.
It doesn't even matter. Where else can they take us?
Yeah, where snow everywhere. Well, I guess somebody could say, well, what if they took you to an island over here that nobody knows about that's just ice? Okay, so we do go to that island. Well,
what is that? How do we see 24-hour sun in December anywhere on Earth?
Right, that's exactly it.
I don't know
the
why.
The sun can't go around this. Well, that's what I was so shocked about other people saying, like, it doesn't matter. They don't understand how it just invalid. It isn't called for in our model in any way, and it can't really be unless it's a reflection or something like that, because that's not the nature of the flat Earth. The flat Earth can't have a sun going around a person in the south if it also has a person going around a person in the north. That just doesn't.
And I'll say this right now. I'll just straight up say it. So, like, I did not come to my conclusion about flat Earth because of the Bible. People may know my whole testimony with that. It basically reintroduced the Bible as potentially viable. Then I had a lot of spiritual experiences directly related to the Bible and stuff. But I now know that, as far as I can tell, we've been blatantly deceived about where we live, and basically everything that was truly created for us has kind of been inverted, undermined, etc. And so with the things that I don't know the answer to, I do actually turn to the Bible and I say, okay, what does it say? Because it's been consistently shown to give all these gems. Like he even talks about how the ends of the earth is like the windiest. It's like where the winds come from. And then they're like, Antarctica is the windiest place on the earth. And all these little gems that are kind of buried in descriptions, right? Or how, we found like a big, an entire ocean underneath the surface. It's like, yeah, there's water below us, according to the Bible. And so,
or he covered the earth and stopped it with bounds, and all that stuff is perfectly.
Yeah, it's wild how much, and it says that the sun, it moves in a circuit and comes back to where it started.
Doesn't it say
it doesn't say there are 50 suns. It doesn't say all this other stuff people are reaching for. Like, just when you get to the south, there's 30 suns there, or doing circles or whatever. It's like, I don't think that's the case. And I like have conviction. I'm not like worried about it. I would pray about it. If the Creator didn't want me to go, He would show me. He would stop it from happening or whatever.
I agree.
I truly believe that. So I would just encourage people to I don't know.
I would encourage people to just relax. Yeah, just relax. Just relax. If you don't like the experiment, if you're not interested in it, then just ignore it. You don't have to call it the final experiment. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to trip about it. But I think that, taking a position of, well, it doesn't matter what we see, well, that's not a very good position. In fact, that's what I've thought about the Globers this whole time, is that they didn't care how many bits of evidence we show or how many long distance. They don't care, right? Because they basically are saying this will be our belief no matter what. And I've always laughed at that and thought I was part of the group that calls themselves truthers, that actually is digging into these things and actually, but I didn't know it meant we're going to dig into things. And then eventually when things might cause our model to be wrong, that we'll just say it doesn't matter and just keep going with that model. That to me is not, I don't want to be a part of that, because that's not looking for the truth. And I don't want to be doing this in 5 years. The same thing, having the same show, talking about the same, we see too far. And Austin did another debate, his 17th debate against Professor Dave. I don't want to be doing that. I don't think anybody wants to be seeing that. So if there's things that can move this conversation along, people should be celebrating those and not trying to shut them down. There's people doing videos that are like, somebody said last night, was it Stop the Corporate Fiction or whatever, said, I was at the end of his show. Somebody told me he was talking about the final experiment. I went there. It was like a 5-hour stream and he was just ending. And I said, okay, I'm going to go back to the beginning and watch this. And he said, okay, well, Jeran, I'm just letting you know that I wouldn't go on that trip if I was offered $1 million. So I just think, and then I started listening to his reasoning, and it's like, I don't know if there's reasoning there to stop. Like, well, you wouldn't go if you were offered $1 million. What evidence do you have that anything funky's going on? Anyway,
it's an opportunity. When I first heard about flat Earth,
by itself.
When I first heard about flat Earth, this is one of the main things that popped up as like a major distinction, I just tried to look. This is a long time ago, right? So this was before even really faked videos existed. I'm like, there's nothing. This is weird. And
that's the weirdest thing.
If you had popped in my living room and been like, hey, dude, I'll take you there right now and you can see it, I would have been ecstatic. I'd have been like, yo, let's go. Because I was like trying to figure out what's going on. I'm like, yeah, let's go see what's going on there. And it's so weird that now, after all these years, you've introduced people's egos and what they've publicly stated and what they currently think and their biases and stuff. Now, all of a sudden, flat earthers have lost that like initial energy of like, I'm not scared of the truth. Truth doesn't fear investigation. Prove it to me. Show me. I call your bluff.
Right.
And it's kind of turned into this like where they are tactically trying to prevent any evidence that could go against what they currently think. And isn't that the main thing that we point out that Globers do? Isn't that the main thing that we speak out against? Like, as a Glober, they can't go listen to my review of the debate, right? They have to watch McToon's or whatever, because like they can't hear the real information.
No.
And like, why would you ever want to be in that camp?
Yeah, I really thought
doesn't make any sense.
Doesn't make any sense to me. I really thought everybody was gonna, when I first heard about this, I'm like, great, let's all stick to our position that we've always had. Come out and say, yeah, if the sun goes around us, that's going to be a big problem for flat Earth, but it won't happen. But then to hear people saying it doesn't matter and it's just who cares? And I'm like, well, this is what we want. We want to move the conversation along. If you don't agree with it, you can just say, no, it's good. It'll be good that we get information. It'd be good that we get data. And so it's great that somebody's going to pay for somebody to go down there. And I don't know if people have heard me say it. I've said it many times before where people would ask me, what do you think is going to change this? And I've always said it was going to be some Christian with money. I just said that. I said some Christian with money is going to come along and say, okay, I'm going to pay for these people to do this. And sure enough, it happens, or, somebody's offering it. And I think that to just dismiss it completely would be a little bit premature. Especially
let me say something else too, to people that are like believers. So consistently, I've seen this truth used to expose fake preachers and to wake up people with testimonies and stuff like that. I've seen it a lot. Because I am a believer, so people tell me their stories, get kicked out of church, kicked out, blah. And then what happens whenever someone gets kicked out of church because they adhere to biblical cosmology? That church implodes, everyone leaves, and it just completely falls apart. It's happened multiple times all across the country. And I leave it open that it's the same thing with, I think that, who's the crazy, Greg Locke. I think he was chosen to be exposed. Mm-hmm. And I think the creator did that. The creator did that to the Pharaoh, for example, and stuff like that. And now everyone has to agree with me, but I'm saying two believers, right? Like, don't you think that maybe the creator knows what he's doing? Or like, is it not possible that maybe Greg Locke is somewhat sincere and is a believer but misguided or misled about things, and he's moving him to figure something out? Imagine the testimony of him if he figures out it's flat. So I'm just saying, like, people should maybe, I'm being reiterative in a way, I'll say it one more time, but it's like people should have more faith in truth, and truth doesn't fear investigation. Anything that's pushing the needle closer to like more definitively establishing that or getting that out there, we should all get behind it. We shouldn't have to talk about it every day. We shouldn't have to. It's like, just seems simple. It seems like an unspoken thing. It's like, we should always, truth doesn't fear investigation. So I should be able to go look at your browser history. Okay, like it shouldn't matter. You shouldn't be scared if you start shaking and don't want me to touch your phone. Okay, what's going on here?
Yeah. No, and the one thing I could hear somebody thinking is like, oh, Jeran and Austin just want a free trip. Like, this trip's gonna suck. Okay, I'll tell you that much right now. I don't want this trip. There's no beaches. There's no
California boy. If you got
margaritas, yeah, come on. So is Austin. Austin's the same way. He hates the cold too. We both would be miserable there. But
yeah, man, I get getting chilly in Florida, bro.
It's 75 and you're cold. It's like me.
I mean, I'm wearing hoodies, 70 degrees. Okay.
So yeah, this is not a pleasure trip at all. But it's nice if somebody, because again, I wouldn't crowdfund this because I don't think it's something that they'll allow us to see. So that's why I'm not going to ask my audience, oh, here, everybody pitching money for me to go down there. And then I do that. And then exactly what I think is going to happen happens. That would be terrible. So for somebody to step up and say they'll do it, I'm at least open to the conversation. And if he chooses somebody else, ultimately, I'm happy for whoever that other person is. And I hope it's somebody that I trust. So that's
well, look, here's another part of it too, so we don't go too hard on people. Like Maria's saying, I think people are just worried about you and Jeran. I know I am. Someone's saying, agree, Austin, we just don't trust the globe heads. Like, I get that. I believe that too. People that I know have my back. They've reached out to me like sincerely, like genuinely worried. And they're like, someone was like, dude, I would cry if something happened to you. And we should be protecting you and blah, blah, blah. And like, I appreciate the sentiment. I trust the creator and I tell them all that. I mobbed around Secret Service with the microphone, exposing Mossad, bro. Like things happen and the creator's real. But like, I think that I can speak for Jeran here as well. Like, we appreciate that sentiment. It's not like we don't, or we know that may be some people's intention. We also know that that's not everyone's intention. And some people are being really weird about it. Like, I think that's all I can, like, I appreciate the sentiment. I know that some people are coming from a good place.
Yes.
But it's like, you know what, dude, if the earth is flat, it's the biggest lie probably ever. It's one of the biggest deceptions ever. It's super important. And in the theory that something happened to me in the process of trying to get that truth out there and, try to make the world a better place, as cliche as that sounds, and like help get the truth out there before our future generations grow up and stuff like that. Like, I'm fine with that, bro. I'm fine with that. And
if something happens to us, they better trigger people to do something. It's like, don't let it go to waste. I mean, and I certainly don't think anything like that happened, but it means if something happens on this trip, then it means something is up. It's just
the Seducer just said it great. If they wanted to get rid of you guys, they don't need the song and dance of Antarctica.
And they don't want a public stage where it's going to be something that people are going to be talking
that'd be way
about.
worse.
Martyrs of you guys.
Yeah, they don't want that.
Rob Skiba, us.
Right.
Like, I don't know. I don't think people. I think sometimes people think with emotion, and then logic goes out the window. But
well, that's good. I like what you said. That it is nice that people that I like that have reached out and they've been very genuinely concerned. And I get it. It's because they like me. I get it. But I just want people to recognize that sometimes in life people have to do things. And if we just always prevent people from doing things because it's scary or that the elite might do something to us, then the elite will just rule forever. Because at what point would something happen, or would somebody be able to stand up and do something if they're always discouraged, or the one that's, they'll never let you do this, they'll never let you do that? I get it. I feel the same way, but let's at least push it. Let's see what happens. Let's challenge them a little bit.
Number one thing I hear is that it shouldn't be me. And people will say stuff like
they'd rather me die. That's nice.
Well, not even necessarily you, but just like someone that isn't necessarily like as big in the movement or isn't quote unquote important or whatever, as they would say. Yeah, and like I get that sentiment as well, but there's counter arguments, right? There's like, okay, but if some random flat earther goes there, it comes back and says he saw it, are you going to believe him?
Right.
I mean, it is what it is. I just want everyone to know that it's not like I have basically agreed to go without thinking about anything. Right. It's just that I think that we view the world differently. Yeah, like I have like a spiritual assurance is how I feel about it. And even if you believe that's not real, like, well, okay, well, it makes my life significantly better and has worked for me. So I'm not gonna like all of a sudden, I sold all my stuff, bro. I sold everything I owned. So like,
Yeah, being
okay.
a truther, hasn't it also shown you, like being an insider, I guess, has shown me a lot throughout the years where I feel much differently than I originally felt because I've seen people like Dave Weiss get on Alex Jones, right? Whereas if that was 8 years ago, I'd immediately be like, oh, this is suspect. He's probably a shill. And whereas now I get to see the inner workings. I know Daria, I know the producer, I know Greg Reese, so now I see things for what they really are. And it's not quite what I originally thought. So I think that tells me a lot.
Sure.
Has Duffy shared his original correspondence messages with the Union base? Would be nice to read. He's not shared that. I don't know necessarily why we would need to share that. But again, if let's say they didn't say we could come out of the tents, well, then he's going to pay $45,000 each for me and Austin to go down there and then not be able to leave our tent. That's huge and dumb. So, Austin, how's Kai doing?
About to pop, man. So
Mrs. said when she heard you say that the other day, she said she doesn't like that because it's not at all describing what happens. Just so you know.
Okay, about to stretch.
I watched the birth. That's not what happens.
Yeah.
When's
yeah. Anyway, yeah, you know how it goes. There's no way to really know how close we are, but it is very close. And
due date's right around now, right?
Are always interesting.
Another week or two. All right. Well, good luck.
Yeah. Then a couple weeks.
Wish you guys the best. When's the next live meetup that you all will be together in person? Austin and I? I don't know. We have any plans. I don't know.
I know Flattoberfest is coming up.
When is that? In September, though, right? I don't think I'll be going to that. End of September, is that correct?
Yeah, I think it's in September. Yeah, end of September.
We got this one. Could they turn up weather situation where it would be dangerous to get out of your tent, kind of like the Truman Show as he approaches the dome? Sure. They could do that. I mean, I don't think storms are a normal thing in that time of year, supposedly. But again, I wouldn't know. They just say that the temperature ranges from 0 to 32 during the summer. So, yeah, I mean, could they do some harp stuff and make it so it's really windy and you can't leave the tent? That'd be possible. But again, I think to me, it is evidence, right? Again, they paid us to go down there and it's so dangerous we can't leave the tent, but it would be 3 days in a row. That's a long time for a storm in the summer. So again, I mean, I think it's even weird that there's clouds, period. It's the most arid place on Earth. There's no moisture. It rains like a half an inch a year, which is, we get a half an inch in an afternoon. So to me, there really shouldn't be clouds. And so a lot of those things I'm anxious to see or to see somebody film, because I don't think there even should be that many, let alone for 3 days. More of advice. I'm in the military Army. I was in Fort Wainwright training soldiers, bring extra batteries and keeping them warm close to your body. Batteries tend to have a short life when in cold. Yes. And I mean, that's if there's one good thing about McKeegan going. Supposedly he's this camera guy before he became a flat earth debunker and grifter. And I've shown before how that works. You see, Austin and I don't make money. He became a flat earth hater, and now that's all he does because he makes a bunch of money. See, that's grifting. But you're saying
he was getting a few thousand views before that, and now he gets millions.
Right, he's getting 5,000 views on this is the filter for this camera or whatever. But anyway, if he goes down there, I mean, I'm sure that he would have advice for what we're doing with batteries. They have those little hand warmers that you break open and they keep things warm. That's what, because people need to remember, when you send a camera up to 120,000 feet, like we did with Dwayne Kellum, it's colder up there, right? That's negative 67 at 120,000 feet, or even colder. But I think it's negative 67. But anyway, Fahrenheit. So it won't even get 0. But I'm just saying that when we send up those coolers with the cameras in them, you pack the batteries with these hand warmers. And they supposedly last like 3 or 4 hours. And that's enough time to get your camera up there and take video and then come on down. So it would be the same thing. I'm sure you'd have hand warmers and you would have some sort of device and you'd have a ton of batteries. And these are things I've asked Duffy before, and he said he'll pay for it all. Because I said, you realize we're going to need a whole bunch of batteries. It's going to be, yep, I got it all. So again, who knows what that's really saying? Let me click this little button. More of advice. I'm in the military. I'm going to scroll back up. All right. Looked up patent 5568366. Compact solar simulator. Okay, so you mean like it's we'll look it up here. Patent number, patent. But I think that's the one that's not in the sky, right? 55683. That's my whole thing. Is it, could they have one in a warehouse that kind of emulates what the sun does? I think that's possible. But as far as something that moves in the sky, I don't know how they would do that. Directed method of simulating a pseudo sun using a solar simulator in the present invention. The collector and lens of a lamp are designed to properly focus a plurality of light beams onto a segmented turning mirror. The path of light rays are traced from the lamp to the collector and then finally to the lens to control the solid and tangential magnification of the solar simulator. The segmented turning mirror is located at a focal point of light beams and redirects the light into a vacuum chamber. So again, this would not work, what I just read, in the sky. It's talking about directing it off of a mirror into a vacuum chamber. I'd have to read more about it, but that sounds like not something that would just be in the sky and look like the sun. We're going to have infrared cameras. We're going to have solar filters. I really doubt. Oh, here's a PDF. Is to show a picture of it. Okay. So, I mean, this is like inside. See what's going on here? This is like inside of a apparatus. I don't know where the actual, is this a person? He's like looking through something. I don't know. I'd have to look into this if anybody's ever. Yeah, I don't know what this is supposed to be doing into this box.
They just use a solar filter, man.
I don't think that this is gonna. I mean, look at this apparatus. You're not gonna put this in the sky and then fool people to think it's the sun in the sky. I just don't think so.
A bright light going by of some sort, they may be able to, fool a human eye, but they're going to have stuff way better than the human eye.
And if it's just behind clouds and we just see, I actually had a video. I sent it to White.
Oh, let me just reiterate. Do you guys understand how risky that would be?
Right.
Why would they do that? Why would
glitch. So things you could do.
If we were able to prove that they faked the sun we were down there, that's just an admission that the Earth is flat.
Yeah, then it's over.
Nail in the coffin, like last one.
I wanted to show
Time
this
to start
video.
talking to the
glacier.
Yeah, then we may not come back, right?
Yeah.
Then everybody's done. Let's see. I was trying to find. I don't know. There's this video. I'll find the one I sent to Dave that just shows the sun. Supposedly it's during the day, and this guy's like, "Oh, this is 2:00 in the morning." But when you see it, you're like, "Oh my goodness!" If that's what we see, that is not evidence of anything. Let me find it from David Weiss. What is that? To me, this is a problem. Okay, let me see here. So this one here. Oops, went to the wrong browser. Over here. Okay. So I mean,
what about daylight but not visible sun? We've covered that, bro.
Look at this. So I mean, this sun here is like, if they try and tell us like the sun's out, we're like, what? That is just behind a cloud. So again, look how many people would have to be here at this trip. This is like all tents, supposedly people. But I mean, again, if the sun is like this and somebody's trying to say, yeah, that's definitely the sun. No, they can fake that. And I don't know.
Well, I can see something like that happening too, where
the
Globers will say, we did see it and they're just denying it. But like, we would just have footage of it.
Yeah, we would have footage, 72 hours worth of footage.
So. And it'd be like, I don't know about McKeegan, but like, certainly something like Globe, of course, like, yeah, we 100% sold us. Like, we have footage.
Yeah,
though. So like,
we'll show everybody.
Because I can see why that would look bad. It would be like they can swear up and down that they saw what they're going to call the sun, and then we're going to say no, you didn't. But it's just going to be filmed, so it doesn't matter.
Right. I mean, go ahead.
Oh, just real quick. I understand why people say not you two guys. Two of the leaders of the whole thing. But at the same time, that's why I respect you guys so much. And I do, take what you guys say as you're honest. What you're saying is the honest truth. Is because this is more than just clicks on YouTube and stuff like that for you guys. I know that. And yeah, this is one of the reasons I respect you guys so much. Because I wouldn't go. I want to know what's down there. But I couldn't. My body can't take it. The cold, like for real, my lungs wouldn't be able to do it. It's just not something I would. They wouldn't even let me go down there because of things that have happened to my lungs.
So looking here, let me get this off the screen. Sorry. If you haven't seen this video,
let's go ahead and cover that. If there's some scenario where they try to exclude one of us,
Oh,
then
yeah.
we're not going.
No, or like imagine we get down there and they're like, oh, by the way, the plane's not working. So Jeran and Austin, you go on that plane. We're going to go on this plane. Like, no. No, nice try.
Yeah, or if they try to say like, oh, we only have this much space, or us or whoever doesn't pass medical exam, we're like, we're not going.
Right.
It's me, you, and Duffy. That's my stipulation personally. I don't care about McGeegan. He can go. That's cool. But at the least, it's those three. Probably McGeegan going or someone is actually better because they'll immediately say, well, of course, but Duffy doesn't poison his children either. So, whatever.
Right. I don't know if people have seen this video, but this is the kind of evidence that we're talking about. This is from Taboo Conspiracy, who has this video of Francois Gabart, who won the 2012-2013 Vendée Globe in 78 days, 2 hours, 16 minutes, setting a new world record, says that when he goes around, we'll listen to this part right here. All right, get this on.
Et un tour du monde en bateau, c'est très très simple. Hein. Oui. On descend l'Atlantique, on tourne.
What? I thought somebody was saying, wait. So he says, we sail down to Atlantic, we turn left every time.
On à gauche à chaque fois, et puis on tourne. Comme si on faisait le tour d'un lotissement. Enfin, je veux dire.
So, I mean, if you think about that and we go back and look at this, we know that they go this direction when they do the Vendée Globe because that's the same way that the current goes, and really nobody ever tries to sail this direction. On Earth, it's not really smart. The current, the winds, everything goes this way. So, and he says we're turning left the whole time, which is what somebody would do on this map. And if you bring out the globe and look at what they would do, that is different. They'd be turning right. So why are they turning left? And we know that that's the way the directions of Vendée Globe goes. You can look that up and see the direction that they go. So great evidence there. But there's so many things like that. Like Austin said, I'm a flat earther because when I first saw the AE map, I immediately thought to myself, that doesn't work with north-south circumnavigation, so I can disprove this. So I go looking, and literally there's one or two people that claim to do it, and he's a cousin of the Queen, and his best friend's Prince Charles, and I've seen video footage of it, and it's totally faked, and it's just, he's been in court and stood up and admitted to faking accidents in his expeditions. The guy's just a TV star. He's considered the world's greatest explorer, and he did it in like 4 years, north-south circumnavigation. So that was one thing. Then I watched that guy, the ZQ pilot, who was supposed to go for the world record, single plane flight, north and south circumnavigation. I watched him fly to the South Pole, turn around and fly right back to Brazil. Went over to New Zealand, up to Alaska, around all that, and they gave him the record. And I said, okay, you're telling me we're giving people circumnavigation records who didn't circumnavigate. That's bullshit. So all these things just kept adding up. Then it was like, well, how do they get around these cruises? You go, look, there is no direct cruise. And I've had people come back and be like, I looked it up. There is a cruise. Yeah, your cruise goes like this. This is their cruise they're talking about. The cruise leaves Australia and goes like to Phuket, to here, to Easter Island, to here, to here, to here. And it's like a 45-day cruise. I'm talking about there is no cruise that goes like New Zealand to Santiago. And that's because a plane can get into the jet streams and move much, much faster, but a boat cannot. I mean, a cruise ship goes like 20. So you're talking about the difference between basically a 12-day trip if the Earth is a globe versus a 20-day trip if the Earth is flat. And that's a big enough difference that's why they can't do that. Same thing with undersea cables. Again, undersea cables, all the undersea cables basically go like this. This is all the undersea cables that go like this. These ones go like this, but none of them go in the south. And that's just weird because on a globe, it's back smaller at the bottom. So here it makes sense. You're like, oh, that makes sense here. Well, of course they would do this because these ones are closest. And then you have these ones run down here, and this is how you get the undersea cables. But if you look at a globe, the way they work, then it doesn't work because you've got Australia, down here, let's say, and these would be a very close distance or should be closer than running all the way up along Alaska, but they don't have any of those. So all those things started to add up. How about the boat race differences in speeds? You've got boats that do 200 miles per hour more in a 24-hour period than the boats in the south. You've got the Vendée Globe. We've done that. We worked out that mathematics, and they come back to doing like 6 knots, and the boat does a top speed of 25 knots. It's like me telling you I won a car race on the freeway, and you're like, oh, how fast did you go? And I say, oh, I averaged 40 miles per hour. And you'd be like, what do you mean? Why? That's how fast I went. And you'd be like, well, why didn't somebody beat you by going 50? It's just a car. No, just because I just happen to win and I just happen to be going 40 the whole time. That's the equivalent of what happens in the South. These boats are going so slow compared to their top speed and getting world records, and it takes like 75 or 100 days to go around. So there's all these things that just keep coming up that are like, okay, that's interesting. And then you look at real quick, I'll just look at Flight Aware 24, or whatever it's called, Flight 24, just to show what I've shown.
Hey, real fast, how far south are you supposed to go before you see the 24-hour sun?
Well, I'll be at the 66, I guess.
Yeah, 66 point.
If I go past 66, I should see the sun for 24 consecutive hours.
Well, it depends what date. Not if you're past the 66, like on February 6th or something.
No.
December 21st, you mean?
Well, just in general. Okay, because like obviously that former NASA guy, he went to McMurdo and Sky Base, and that's pretty far. That's like.
Oh yeah, I have to look into. You're talking about that guy that Oakley interviewed, or no?
I don't know.
Robert. You have to.
What? No, his name is David.
Okay, no, I don't know. Okay.
But what I'm saying is like that's far south, right? Like he was there for 6 months, I think, during their summer.
Well, you said McMurdo. I don't think McMurdo's very far south. I think it's right on the edge, isn't it?
Yeah, but it's on the edge of the continent where it dips in.
Oh, okay, so it goes inside.
It goes close to 80 south. I mean, it's not quite to 80. I mean, I'm just wondering if he was supposed to see it. You see what I'm saying? Like he didn't see it. He says you see the sunset. But what I'm saying is that too far north? I don't know.
I don't think
you
so.
were just saying that you should see 24-hour sun, 66 degrees. This dude's close to 80.
No,
there for 6 months.
You would be able to see it only on December 21st, right? Like that's as it starts getting away from December 21st, you're going to eliminate the outskirts of Antarctica. Every day that goes by, that circle is going to get smaller and smaller and smaller of who can actually see the 24-hour sun. But I know that the 80 degrees
it's going to go all the way down to 80 degrees.
Yeah, and
isn't that where
80 degrees is supposed to be where we're going to be, and that clearly is within the area that should see it in December 14th because we're right next to the solstice.
Scott Base is 78 degrees south latitude.
No, Scott Base is 88, right, or 89.
McMurdo right here is right above 78, so it's 77.5.
And he said it's set.
Yeah. He says a 24-hour sunlight, no 24-hour sun.
Yeah. I mean, and this is what I've always heard too. And so I'm not afraid of that. And I think people took me saying what I would say if I see it, and they are like got all nervous about that when I'm just saying the honest truth of what that would mean. Now, I don't think that exists. That's why I'm a flat earther. I mean, otherwise, if I found out that right away, then I probably would have gone a different direction. So I'm just showing this average flight is like, 12 and a half hours from Sydney to Santiago. And if we just pick one of these, we'll go with this one here. I'm just going to press play so we can see. So this flight here, this flight did a little funky moves here. But if you just take the mathematics of this and we say, okay, so this flight in 12 and a half hours is 7,062 miles. So we're just going to take that here. And 7,062 miles divided by the 12.5, and we get 564.96. Okay, so that is a probably Mach 8.5 as it is, right? And I think the speed of sound is like 650 or something at that altitude. So they tell us, again, we don't know that. This is just what they tell us. But if that's true, just think about it, that plane's going 564. Now remember, we've shown and know, and I've got papers that say that there's a 300 up to 350 mile per hour jet stream. And it says, we now understand the jet streams really well. And there's this jet stream, and this one goes up to 250 miles per hour, and this one goes up to 350 miles. Nowadays, they don't mention that at all. You'll not find a mention of a 350 mile per hour jet stream. However, I have a paper written in the 60s that talks about it as if it's just everyday knowledge that this is something everybody should know. So if that, let's just say it's a 150 mile per hour jet stream, you're talking about that plane actually going then 414. So now we've got planes in the south that are flying slower than any plane has ever gone in a long distance flight. Why is it flying 414, taking the 150 mile per hour extra, going 564 and doing that trip in 12 and a half hours? Now, again, I've shown that if a plane at Mach, let's say Mach 9 is, let's say 600 miles per hour. I don't know, 0.9 I'm talking about. Let's say it's 600 miles per hour and there's a 150 mile per hour jet stream. So that plane would be going 750. So if we take 750, so we're going to take 7,100 divided by 750, and we'll get 9.46. So that means that a plane should have done it in 9.46 hours. And if we go down here, you will never see a flight for even 10, let alone 9. So now we have to believe. Now you have to believe that in the place where they tell us that the biggest jet streams are, the place that they tell us there's the fastest moving wind, that now there's planes that have never gone a normal speed. They tell us that planes in the north go like 840, right? They're like, oh, this plane broke the record. It went 840 or 850. So again, if it went 850, then why has no plane in the south ever done that? It should have happened once. They should just have gone, hey, we got a lucky wind.
Where jet streams are stronger.
Winds are faster. Yeah, that's
Right.
crazy.
So
it says
well, every time I try to
660.
answer this, I try to tell them, go to 24/7 flight radar. The data is not matching up. It actually goes against the globe. And then they look at me like I'm speaking Chinese, and then they turn around and claim that I had no answer for it.
I mean, I just did 850, which is the speed that they say the planes in the north are going, times 12.5 hours, and you get 10,625 miles, which is 3,500 miles further than the plane goes. So again, there's just problems in the south that cannot be explained, and this is why I'm a flat earther. This is why I believe that there is no 24-hour sun, because it doesn't jive with me. If we go down and see the sun circle my head, now I have all these questions. Why did Stephen Hawking lie in his documentary and fake a helicopter? Why did Nat Geo lie when they put that boat out there and say that the stripes were missing and the horizon, even we can see it behind the boat? Well, why did they do all these things? Why is this happening? Why did the planes in the south all of a sudden not fly fast? I mean, these are the questions that I would have. Now, it doesn't mean that I could just dismiss the observation of the sun going around my head because I have all those questions. No, those things are still questions, and the observation is something different because I actually went down and saw it.
Yeah, I've even thought of this. The only type of answer I can think of is the only way that flat earthing style even kind of makes sense, and it would be like incredibly thought out with stuff like this. I just don't even see it being feasible, but I'm not going to like appeal to incredulity or whatever, but it would be to group geocentrism in with flat earth so it could all be dismissed as a package.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't find out about geocentrism, right? That's the only thing I could ever even think about.
Which is weird because it's not, that's what we've been exposing, right? The more we looked into this, those things become patently obvious. The whole Edwin Hubble and the expanding universe and the cosmic microwave background and all those things lead you to the Earth being at the center. So they're not doing very good.
It actually brought more eyes to geocentrism.
I would think so.
Yeah, it just doesn't make sense. Like with all the stuff that you do, if someone thinks critically about all the stuff you just showed, it's like, who's trying to convince us that the Earth is flat secretly to such an extent that they're losing billions of dollars and hiding all this that you have to go find and coming up with immense cover stories for everything? What? No, that doesn't make any sense. It makes no sense. Like the undersea cables is very telling if you just look at them mapped out. So yeah, it just doesn't vibe with me at all to say it's a psyop. It's a cop out for people.
So this is the paper I'm talking about, the atmospheric meteorology here, atmospheric jet streams in the aerospace age by Herbert, whatever his name is. But you'll notice down here he's talking about how now they're going to use this for all flight planning, and the course of modern meteorology has been guided by this discovery in many ways. Jet streams affect surface weather, the principal cloud, and weather systems are associated with it, but it has its problems of aerospace science and technology that the most direct account must be taken of the atmospheric wind concentration, which they do twice a day from 1,000 locations. We shall look briefly at a few of these problems. Multiple jet streams. Following the first discovery, the concept was proposed of a single dominant jet stream per hemisphere, but observations soon rudely upset this simple picture. It is now clear, notice that, it is now clear that the jet streams will be encountered simultaneously at various latitudes and altitudes. At this time, we have definite knowledge of the following currents. And you'll notice this one here says the subtropical jet stream of winter latitude 25-35 course speeds occasionally approaching 300 knots, which is about 350 or even more miles per hour. And then mean height 40,000 to 45,000. Planes can easily get that high. People think that there's a ceiling of 40,000. There's not. Planes can go for 45,000. You'd have no idea. And you'll also notice that there's westerly and easterly, meaning people think that the jet streams go one direction, but this talks about here a westerly current, meaning it's coming from the west. This one's a westerly current coming from the west. The easterly jet stream means it's coming from the east. So you do get different jet streams going in different directions. And this one's at 75,000 feet. What is that one? The polar night jet stream, roughly around poles from west at latitude 60-65 in the winter. Core height, at least velocities recorded above 200 knots. Strong meanders and asymmetries of position are common. So anyway, I think this is also the paper somewhere in here that talks about the south being the fastest, and a lot of that stuff's getting scrubbed. So anyway, my point is long-winded, that there's tons of reasons why I'm in the position I am or why I believe what I believe, And it's okay to say, yeah, something like the sun going around me is going to make me question all that. Doesn't make it go away. I still would have questions. It wouldn't be like, just forget about all this now, but it would make me question it even more. So, and then I think we've talked about this before, but at 1,000 feet layers, they have different jet streams. Sometimes you're at 55 or 35,000 feet, and then at 36,000 feet, the jet stream would going the other way. So, and they must know it really well. I mean, if you've gotten up in the plane, once you're up at cruising altitude, the flight's pretty smooth. So it is really like somehow there's like a there's like a freeway up there or something.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's how the NASA says they control their balloons with the electrostatic tethering, right?
Right.
It'll be following one jet stream one way, and then it'll get too far, so they'll either raise it up or lower it down and catch that other jet stream, and it'll come back the other way.
Yeah. So,
so they got it pretty mapped out really well, I'm sure.
I mean, this guy is just funny. This guy's talking about at this time we have definite knowledge of the following currents, and then now this is never mentioned, like it doesn't exist. And again, these are the things they could hide from you. They don't need to tell people that there's a 300 mile per hour jet stream, because if the computer knows it and the computer's doing the flight planning, not even the pilot needs to know. Nobody needs to know how fast the winds are, except for the computer system that's planning the flights and getting people to where they need to be at a certain time. So there's enough questions that people should, like Austin just said, at least say, these are weird things. There's no cruise. There's no container ship that just goes across from New Zealand to South America or Australia to South America in direct shot. Now, they've got every excuse in the book. Oh, it's too far, and it's out in the middle of the ocean, and you could have an emergency, and they've got all these different convoluted excuses, but it's weird that they all match our version of the Earth, right? That's what's weird, is that how do all these things line up? So the undersea cables, there isn't something that comes out and just completely debunks it. However, the sun going behind you in Antarctica would be very strange. So I want to show that. Anyway, you can go to these and see, and then coming back the other way is kind of the same story, except for those flights take like 14 and a half, I think, which I did see a plane earlier. Let me see if this is on here. Close this one. Oh, it was QF-28. This plane here is already on this way. Where's this one coming from? I don't know where that's at. So this plane's QF-28. I believe the average time of this flight is, so this plane's going 4:59. That's nice and slow. I forgot the average time on this one. I think it's like 8:34, 3:34 ago, 10:34. So that's 14 hours is expected on this one, and that's the same 7,000 or 6,000. No, sorry, 7,000 miles. So there's lots of problems in the south. There's not a lot of planes that fly across this. Not at all. I think it's the QF-27, QF-28, and then most of these go to like these little islands up here, and then but again,
and aren't they special planes? They have like 5 extra layers of paint and all this kind of crazy
they're all
stuff.
Composite materials. They've all been redone. It used to be the ER version of the extended range version, but now it's called the Dreamliner 787-9, which is the newest long distance craft, and the ones that fly that Qantas route, and also the one that goes Auckland to New York or something, that kind of long flight. Oops, I wanted to go to Wikipedia. Here we go. So this one here, it's got, all the different composite materials, and it's got further extended range. It replaced the extended range flight. So anyway, they've had a couple fires on board. But anyway, you can read this if you want. That's under there. You can go down here to the -9. I believe they show each type. Flight testing, and there's the different types. So here's the -3. Oops. All right, thank you very much. Thanks to hot dogs for sale. AA jet officially broke the barrier for MSM across the Atlantic. Oh, I see. I can't read that. Last week, I'm old enough to remember experts saying they just break apart at that speed. Yeah, I mean, that's what we were all told, right? And that's why that interview that Dave Weiss and I did with those 2 pilots was hilarious, is because the one pilot's like, oh, you would hit the jet stream, you would break the speed of sound then, and it would be pretty obvious. And we said, no, nobody on the plane would know it. I've read it before, and it says, because you're going so fast, you leave the sonic boom behind you. Now, granted, they say that, you've seen those planes have like a little pointy nose that's supposed to help them like break through that. I mean, again, I wouldn't know that, but that's their only really excuse. Like, well, those planes don't have a pointy nose. It's like, well, they could just, reinforce the nose. I mean, it has nothing to do with being a point. Anyway, 787 I don't know where that went. 787-9. see if we can find 56 of them. Holy smokes. Thought there was like a title of it. There we go. So it just says it's a lengthened and strengthened variant, 20 foot longer fuselage, higher maximum takeoff weight. It features active boundary layer control on the tail surfaces, reducing drag. It's going to replace the ER version. It'll replace the Airbus 3300 and 3300. So anyway, there's lots of things about this plane, and we're not going to know everything about it. If there is any kind of reinforcement, do they have to mention it to us? I don't think so. Not when it's kind of this kind of deception that would be very easy to pull off. That's what I think is so weird, is that this is not a difficult one to pull off with the flights, at least to me. I don't think that that's the least of our worry. But all those things tell me that there is something in the south that's weird, something that doesn't match the globe. I do have somebody right now, I guess he has a friend at exactly the same latitude south that he is north. And so right now he's tracking shadows on the ground, and then he's going to have his friend do it at the 6 months later. And then he wants to compare to see if the shadow changes day to day are exactly the same as the globe would demand. So people are doing good observations of that. I still believe that the whole sunset coming faster, or that it gets dark faster, the sun lingers longer, is the case. It's just we haven't gotten any good data, and it's a tough thing to get data on because it's subjective to each person, and when do they actually feel the sun goes away. But I do believe that I think that people, everybody on Earth right now is getting the longest time after sunset because we're at the June solstice. Soon as, now we're past June 21st. So now if everybody went outside tonight, watched the sunset, counted the amount of minutes that the sun sets until you don't see any more light, I believe everybody on Earth would be going through the same thing right now, which is that time would be getting shorter and shorter and shorter and shorter for everybody. And that's another debunk of the globe, because there's no way that works on the globe. On the globe right now, since we are going to be heading towards winter, we should be getting reduced time after sunset. But the South is getting closer to their summer. They're heading towards summer. So now, since this is the dead of winter, the dead of winter for them, they should start seeing more sun after sunset, but they actually see the opposite. So we need more people to do that observation, get some, it's tough because I don't think you need to do it. I think if you did it once every 2 weeks, that you'd at least get some idea if you're trending in that direction, right? So if you're in the South, you go out, you film the sunset, sun dips below the horizon, you're like, okay, I'm starting my clock. And then as soon as you see no light at all, stop your clock. And again, if it's cloudy out, I wouldn't do it that day. You want to have it as clear as possible. But I think if you did that, tracked it over every 2 weeks, you do it, between now and December, you would notice that you are trending down, which is a problem because we in the North are doing the same thing. We're trending down. How would we all be doing the same thing? Well, on a flat Earth, again, now look at this map and realize that on a flat Earth, it's because everybody would be experiencing the same thing because the sun is smaller here. And then as we get towards the winter, for us, it's bigger. And so everybody on Earth is going through that. Nobody's getting that. Nobody's separate. It's not opposite like it is on the globe. This would actually be everybody simultaneously has the short sun circle and then the long. I wanted to show this too real quick that I think is a big one. This is one of my biggest proofs. If we go down to the equator, let's see, if I go to Ecuador, probably the easiest one. So if I go here, we're at the equator now. I want that line to be straight. Oops, this way.
There's a quick question from Rockfin about going down there. Are you guys going to be able to take a drone? Would that be a possibility?
Yeah, Duffy said he got permission. They said in the bylaws no, but then because it's right next to an air, obviously the planes land there, so you don't want to put the drone up when the planes are coming. But I don't think there's no planes expected to come in there. I don't think. So this here, what I think is interesting is if we look at the, so this is on the equator supposedly, but if you look up here, that is the Analemma. And nobody's ever been able to explain this to me, why we get the larger end in the south, right? If it's a globe Earth, why wouldn't it be an infinity symbol with the crossing at the equator? That would make sense because the sun's going around the north, around the south, around the north. But instead, we get a longer loop in the south, which again, what map shows us a longer loop in the south for people on the Earth? So there's just a lot of evidence that this is why, for the people who are like, I can't believe flat earthers exist. And well, then that's just because they just believe men and never look into actually what they believe. Because if you look into it, you're going to start to have questions that, don't have good answers. And that's another one of them. We've got, Sov Soul's son, Ryan, last night did an in-depth stream on Duffy. The first 40 minutes were very interesting to watch. Yeah, again, I watched it. I'll try and look at it a little bit more. I didn't think it was that interesting. I don't know. Bob Enyart. I always Bob Enyart's a good guy. I think people say, oh, he's involved with Bob Enyart, and then he just said things that Duffy we already know. I'll watch it again though. I don't want to poo-poo it because I didn't watch the whole thing. But he was just saying things like, oh, Duffy, you would think that because he's written books that he's written books on the Bible, but he hasn't. He's written books on finance. It's like, okay, what did you discover? That he told us everybody that. He said that he wrote 3 books on finance. They did well. He made money off that. He was a financial planner. Then Bob Enyart died, and he took over Bob Enyart's church, being a preacher. So I don't expect him to have any books written about being a preacher. He just became a preacher within a year. So again, I get why people are looking into it, but I mean, you have Level Earth Observer saying, oh, and Duffy's a billionaire. It's like, where'd he get that? He got it from Duffy making a joke. Duffy was making a joke and saying, because during your debate, Austin, the moderator said something about him being an eccentric billionaire. And then Duffy in his video is like, oh, something came out about me. Now everybody knows it is true that I'm eccentric. And they took that to mean he's a billionaire. And it just run with it. And then everybody's saying that. And it just sucks because you're watching. You're like, okay, now everybody in the community is going to say he's a billionaire. You watch. You'll see it all over. Because one content creator decided to just say that. And then everybody jumps on board and says that must be true. They don't even do any research or check if it can be, conglomerated or anything. That's just, no, that must be the case. And so everybody will go on to that. So they're just pissing in the punch bowl, really, making the whole thing stink. And it, again, if there's reason to do that, I'm the first one who would be on your team. But I just don't see that reason yet. I haven't seen anything crazy detrimental or crazy. We know he must have some money. He's not going to be paying $150,000 for a trip if he's got $200,000 in the bank. Okay. So obviously he did well in his financial career to be able to have that money. That's where I would leave that for now. All right. We've got one more here. We've got, are you worried about the astronauts getting back safely that are having complications up in the ISS? Upside down guy? No, I think they'll be fine. Is that the one that because the Boeing craft is all broken or something? So there isn't 24-hour footage in the north around June 21st that could be previously recorded to use the footage in the south. But we're going there. I don't know what you mean. Hold on. So there isn't 24-hour footage in the north. There is. Around June 21st, there is. That exists. That could be previously recorded to use as the footage in the south. I don't trust you or Duffy, and you pretend to not understand what I said. No, I don't pretend to not understand. What you're saying doesn't make sense. So you're saying like we would go down to the south and then they would film the north and then just tell us when we're down there like, hey, guys, we're actually going to be submitting this footage as being real, but we're going to use it in reverse. No, and like McKeegan said in his video, he's like, we're going to be making sure there's a camera filming everybody filming. So you'll be able to see us moving around and doing things so that you know it's not reversed. You can watch the footage of us filming and then you'll be able to watch the footage of it filmed. You'd be watch what we filmed. So yeah, it's not that I'm not pretending to not understand what you're saying. What you're saying doesn't make sense. What do you mean recorded? We're going. So they can't get us to the North Pole. We're going to Punta Arenas and then there's a 4.5 hour flight. So we cannot get to the North Pole. And if we did, the sun would be going the wrong way. So again, you're insinuating you don't trust me. So what do you think that I'm trying to, like, what are you thinking? I'm going to go down. I'm going to lie to everybody after 9 years of pushing flat earth. Now I'm going to go down when everybody believed the globe before me anyway. So what are you talking about? Why would I be needed? Oh, Jeran, we need you to go convince everybody for 9 years that the earth's flat. Then at the end, you just come back and bring everybody back to the globe. I'd be like, they're already there. What are we doing? Oh yeah, I guess you're right. Everybody already believed in the globe. What would you need me to do that for? So it's just, you need to think through these things. It's not a matter of not understanding. It's that you're not making a lot of sense. If I went and I donated, regardless of the outcomes, I'd be happy with where my money went. Well, thank you, Nick. I appreciate that. And I think that is what's going to ultimately happen. And I do actually understand. So if you don't know why Duffy's holding back from doing what many of us have told him to do, which I said, hey, pay for Austin, pay for me, set up a GoFundMe for $100,000. And I said, I'll be the first, I'll give you $100. I'll be the first one. For other people to say the same thing. He would easily make that money. His problem is it takes away from one of the things that he thought was important to this whole thing, which is that no money was sought after. He says, because as soon as I do that, then I become a liability. People could look at that and say, oh, you're doing it for money, or you did it for, where he's saying the way he set it up was that he was going to fund it all so that there was no question of monetary gain, no question of having to, ask people to donate money and then something doesn't happen and can you get them the money back? And think of everything that goes into that is kind of a pain in the ass. So that's why he's kind of in that position where he's saying he's thinking about it and hasn't decided yet. But it is part of our demands. So, but I see what you're saying. Thank you for that, saying that. Let me go up here. Austin, I have a crazy supernatural testimony that you will definitely relate to. 12 pages. Would love your feedback. Link in chat. Okay, that's from Eric. Andrew says, is he willing to buy life insurance for everyone going? I don't think so. He is, well, there is an insurance that has to be bought, but it's like in case you get medevaced out or something. Is it a done deal? Both of you are going? No. Nope. I had my conditions. Austin had his, and that's where we kind of stand. And Austin's got a baby to worry about, so it's just not important right now. What about bringing a drone that can go above the clouds? Yeah, I think that that will definitely happen, according to Duffy. What is the percentage that you would give that the trip gets canceled? All out canceled? 40%? I don't know. Austin, you have a percentage of that? I don't know. You might say
60.
Okay. Minute 1838 of the video, Lindsay shows a model of the mirrored south. Okay, we can look at that real quick. He's got 1838. I think I still have that up, don't I? I thought I did. Let me find Tomb again. Tomb of Illum. What did his channel used to be called? I remember it was like
Flat Earth Philosophy.
Thank you. Yeah, that was it. So you said at 1838. Let's just hear a little bit of this. See if we can understand what he's saying. 1838. We'll go to 18.
Appearing to go straight. Because we only see so far within our own personal arc of horizon. We can't see the mysteries, the magic that comes from magnetism. Okay, so understanding this, northern hemisphere, and the south goes under it. This is all described in the physics book called the Bible as well. Earthquakes, as in subduction, going down into a mente. Okay, the seasonal change. That's the flex. The seasonal change, in and out, up and in, down and out, up and in, down and out. So when it's right up here, the sun is 24-hour daylight up here. It doesn't go below the horizon. Okay? So this movement here is declination in the sun over the season. When it pops out, the magnetic field pops into the south. Now, there's a Ken Wheeler video. He shows us a magnetism where he's playing around with the magnets, and you see the field pop out and then move back up, and as he moves the magnet. It's like this. It blobs out and gets sucked back in, like playing with jelly. So it's all there, folks. All described there. And so you can associate this with that... There's crazy videos at the moment. I messaged, put a message on Jeran's video. I said, I've told you how the effort works. Stop, stop the BS. You can ignore me if you want, but that's the way it works. Can't be debunked. It's fact. I don't lie, and I know what I'm talking about. Okay? So as for this final experiment they're talking about, it's just a joke. There is 24-hour sun around the south. It's all out here for a few weeks. And going down there, it's not going to prove much. But if I had the opportunity, as I was traveling that way.
Yeah, so I'll have to watch that from the beginning. I'm certainly not ignoring the guy. I didn't even know he wrote to me or what he means by that. He didn't reach out my way as a reach out. But I'm just looking at this map up here. I don't really know what this is per se, but again, the problem becomes if he's saying there is a 24-hour sun in the south, so people see the sun go around them. The sun is then going around this person here, but is also over here lighting up Australia. So that's the weird thing is, how do we have a sun? If you're in Antarctica looking behind you and you see the sun, it's at the same time that the sun needs to be over here. So that doesn't seem to work to me. But again, I'll have to watch this from the beginning because he didn't explain this yet. Let me just see if he says anything here.
I'm sorry, there's dips at the pole, these two here. It rises, if you've got one of those compasses, a dip and up. So it'll rise up in this area here. And they tell you that magnetic field is weakest in the tropics. There's no magnetic field in here. It's all built up on the sides here, Capricorn and Cancer. So you just get a direct field line, a direct compass setting, poking, pointing in both sides. But you're not following it.
Now, sometimes I can't follow the guy. I'll have to watch it from the beginning because he's a little difficult. But thank you very much for that, Kevin Samuel. We got New Moon says, what about the sun bring... Oh, yeah, we already read that. Sorry. Global Peace Scavenger Hunt. All right. We've got Luke, Open-Minded Skeptic, says, how will they spin if it does set? Well, I don't know if they'll let us film that. I can't imagine that. But... well, according to some of these guys, Toon already put up a video saying he'll close his channel and read some paragraph or something. I don't know. And they say it's simple. The sun says it does falsify their model. So I at least respect them for saying that. We've got bring a jet boil. You can fly with it, not with the gas canisters. Maybe find a canister at Antarctica airport. Ramen is your best friend. Okay. Bring a jet boil. Do you know what that is? I don't know what a jet boil is. You can fly with it, not with the gas canisters. Maybe can find a canister Antarctica airport. I don't know. I don't even think there's no Antarctica airport. No such thing. Will you be able to live stream from Antarctica? Well, Duffy says that he's heard that they have Skylink or whatever, Starlink, and that they will be getting it soon, but he's not sure if it'll be for this trip. Most likely, I'm guessing not, but we would live stream from Punta Arenas, showing you where we were. I did hear Dave McKean come up with some idea that it's a good way of proving that we're in the location. If we grab a newspaper on December 13th from Punta Arenas, say, here's the newspaper, we have a picture with all of us there, and then the next day we're in Antarctica with that same newspaper, I do agree that does kind of do the best that you can do to prove that we were there on the day that we say we were. Otherwise, how do we have the newspaper from the day before? Would be awesome if you find evidence of flight radar software again, which showed the additional jet stream speed. Oh, yeah. Oh, you mean of my videos? I think I could find the videos for sure. The ones that I click, yeah, I actually want to write myself a note to do that. Because I remember there were all videos that I titled plane flights, southern plane flights. Let me write myself a note. But yeah, I've still got those. And then, I don't know, this app that I've got, Ventusky, it shows the jet streams in those areas. But again, the fact that it only shows 150 or 200 at the top, when I just read a paper that says it's upwards of 300 knots, which is like 360 or 375 miles. Actually, I don't know that. I don't want to say that. That's wrong. What is it? I don't know what it is. 300 knots, not 3,000, to MPH, or not, to, yeah, MPH works. So that is 345. Sorry, I was going too high. But still, that we've never seen anything like that now. And if you go to Bob's Wins, and what? No, Bob's Wins, this one. So if we go here and bring up the menu, we're going to go to about, so 250 is like 32,000 feet, 70 is like 45,000 feet. So of course they only give us the in between there where really the flights would happen. But you can just click on here and see what your mile per hour jet stream is. So this is up high, probably at 45,000 feet. You're getting 102, 96. So where's the 300s that they knew about so well? Now, if we go here, we'll usually get a little faster, especially some of these points here, 154, 152. This one looks like it's moving. Whoops, my mouse got stuck. 91, 158, 131, 174. It's a fast one. But I've never seen above 200, let alone... actually, I think I have seen 210 or something. I don't know if I've seen anything more than that. But to get up to 350 now. So, again, what happened to those jet streams? And it's supposedly supposed to be faster in the south. And sometimes I find that it's faster in the north. So, the Ventusky, though, it also has a limitation of heights. I just want to remember what it is. So, I'm looking at wind speed, and I'm looking at... So, from here, you can get 12,000, 14,000, 18,000, 30,000, 40,000. So again, between 30 and 40,000, though, there's a lot of different speeds in a lot of different directions that they seem to kind of hide. Again, I don't know. I'm sure somebody who's a pilot can find that information. but mostly it's done for the flight controllers. There's 143. All right, so yeah, I don't know how to find. Before I was able to go to FlightAware, and then you'd be able to show, 1,000 mile per hour real speed. What do they call it? There's ground speed, then airspeed, right? I think airspeed is the one that would show it. All right, we've got how does the cosmic microwave background fit into the flat Earth? Where did they send the Planck probe? Well, I think it was done from Earth, but it coincided.
The first one was like high altitude balloons, and even what they say are quote unquote satellites, like it doesn't matter. They just ended up high on the Earth. I don't know why it's confusing.
Yeah, it's high up. But again, and that's, they call it the axis of evil for a reason. It's not because it jives with their model. It's because it leads to weird things that they don't like to talk about. Let's go with Russell Gregory next. He said, I heard Will say in an interview with Sean, the Flight Radar 24 will show the exact route in real time, and I'm curious if there's any merit to that statement. That's a good question. I don't know. You'd have to give me that flight number. I wonder if we could find that. So it goes Punta Arenas to Union Glacier. I don't know if we could just look that up. Punta Arenas to Union Glacier. Because if we could find just that flight number, then you'd be able to look up at the times that it's gone in the past. All flights depart from Punta Arenas, Chile land. It doesn't give us a flight number there. Is only acceptable by air, and the journey involves a 4.5 hour flight from Punta Arenas. The Boeing 757 doesn't say a flight number. Here's the Blue Ice Runway. Hold on, I might be able to put, if this is the code. So it's from this airport, PUOSCC. Just look real quick, see if we can find anything. Flight 24. Oops. No, I need, what is it called again? Flight Radar. I always get that lost. Flight Radar 24. Just to see if I can search this. Because, I mean, how many flights are going to that particular code? There should be nobody. No matches found. Let's go with just this Union Glacier L, I'm guessing. Oh, there we go. Union Glacier Runway. Let's look at arrivals. It doesn't show any. Let's look at departures. Doesn't show any arrivals. Can we look at history more? So that is their history. Nice history. No, it doesn't show any. Again, I think that I only have the account that would show 90 days anyway, I think. And it doesn't look like they have anything scheduled. So again, right now it would be 24-hour night there. They're not going to be doing anything there. But if somebody has a bigger account or wants to check this out, again, that was looking up code UGR. Is that what it was? Or UGL. And there's nothing. Arrivals, departures, on ground reviews. Let's see if there's any reviews. Nope. Routes. Am I clicking anything? Hello. Oh. Union Camp routes, destinations. So I'm assuming, though, if a plane does take off, you would be able to track it on here. I mean, I don't know when the last time a plane went there was. Like Austin said, they probably didn't do it during COVID. So I'm guessing the last time that somebody would have flown in and out of there would have been last January, February, something like that. Show all routes? No, don't know. But yeah, basically flying here, and it's about down here at -80. And I think that's it there. So that's the picture of it on the map here, basically in this little crevasse, and it looks real fun. Departures, yeah, nothing. What is this though? Why? Oh, that's the time. Okay, the elevation 2420 feet, but that's all I see. And so yeah, anyway, we'd have to check as we get closer, or if somebody has a account that pulls longer than a year or up to a year. I think mine just does 90 days. Yeah, because if you type in like QF8027, for example, you'll notice that if I go here, oops, I didn't mean to go to that one. Go back. Then go to this one, QF27. It'll say like only 90 days are available. Let's see if we go down here. A little more flights. Yeah, so it does show a year, it looks like. Wow, that's weird. Shouldn't they have? I wonder if they had anybody who went last year. It says more than 1 year of QF27 is available with an upgrade to business. So if it's showing this for a year, then we should see a flight out of Union Glacier for this last summer for them, which would be December, January, February, somewhere in there. I would expect to see a flight. So that's weird that we don't see one. Good call. This is something
if they change the plane, would they change the name of the flight?
Well, this is the actual. I went to the airport code, really, which is the landing spot, that blue ice runway. So show on map. I did that. But I don't see airport photo not available. Yeah, I mean, if you go to arrivals and then you go to more, what this is supposed to do is list flights within the last year. I thought it was only 3 months, but it just says, sorry, we don't have any information about flights for this airport. Webcam. Huh? Airport webcams. Sorry, we shouldn't be doing this live. I don't know what I'm doing. All right, this is some webcam site. I'll leave that open. I can check that out. Click continue, add security. Webcam viewing options. What? We'll just look one more thing. Where's this? The last 20 uploads, most recent top left, oldest bottom right. This can't be recent. It's dark there. Still middle of winter. I don't know what this is supposed to be showing. This is really old footage. Oh,
yeah, we just got past the solstice, so they should be having like 24-hour darkness right now, right?
Yeah, this is showing February 20th is the last date that this shows. February 20th. So anyway, of this year. Who knows? I never even knew there was a webcam supposedly from there. So learn something new all the time. Flight radar, flight traffic, flight stats. Is this for this flight? It'll probably just take me to the same place we just were. Yeah, I don't know. All right. Anyway, we'll get past that. Let me just finish up with these. I'm curious if this does follow through and happen logically. I would think there would be a weight limit to the plane, maybe limiting lots of things like telescope cameras, batteries, etc. Well, possibly. I mean, I was showing that flight from that guy. That's a good way to put it, right? Let me bring it up real quick. Just there's a flight that a guy went on. He went down there with, I guess, a couple buddies, but it's like he was the only one on the flight. And this is the flight from Punta Arenas to Union Glacier. Trying to find it here. It's right in here. Where's that guy's flight? And he kind of shows that there's only like him and two other people on the whole entire plane. And the plane's like a normal size 787. Where is this video? Come on. Oh, I know. I'm on GLOBEBUSTERS. That's why in my history, not on my own. Yeah, I'll show it some other time. I can't get, let me check if I go Union Glacier. I think I can find his, oops. I had to do it from YouTube. Union Glacier. It's just some guy. He's got like nobody on his channel. No views. I can't remember his name though. Just left a comment for him. I don't see it. Not that guy. Anyway, there's a guy who went down there. Is this guy? No. This guy? No. You can find it. It's a video of a guy. He's got a channel like 17 subs. Supposedly went down there last year, or I think it was a year ago. And I don't see him now. But anyway, he basically, this guy. Here he is. John McKinney. He's got like no views. But this is them leaving. It's quiet. Punta Arenas. And if you look at it's just them. There's like nobody else on the whole flight. He actually shows them on the flight. I think towards the end here. I mean, it's a normal sized jet. Look at this jet. So, but there's like 4 fucking people. 5, 6. So 6 people went on that trip. So it means that like it probably doesn't always sell out. It probably sometimes has very few people. But these guys get on the plane and you can see that it's just basically them. And the whole plane's empty. I mean, look how many people are there getting on. Look at it. So I don't know if that's what we have to look forward to. It's just going to be me and Witsit and McKeegan in the middle or something. Don't know. Anyway, that's that. Let's go with the next one. So that's what you're saying. Logically, I would think there would be a weight limit to the plane. Well, I mean, look at the plane. I mean, obviously they would be able to, if this was like this, you'd be able to take whatever you want on there. Well, not whatever you want, but you get it. What are your predictions be if you measure the electric field in Antarctica? That would be for you, Austin. Not me.
I would expect it just not to be the same 100 volt per meter increase that we see around here in the interior. But wouldn't we have to bring our stuff to the airport to fly to South America?
Good call. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how much really. I don't have any telescope. I would have my infrared camera. I have my other camera. GoPro. They would do like time lapse. I'm assuming McKeegan's going to have some of the fancy cameras. I have a solar filter for the other camera. Again, I'm not even worried about that yet. That'll be something I worry about down the road. Okay, we got what happens at the very southernmost point. Not sure. You mean of the world? I don't know that. All I've seen is a plane that was supposed to cross the South Pole and go from Brazil to New Zealand, and he hit the South Pole, turned around, and came back and said the weather was too treacherous. Which, you can believe that if you want, but usually weather doesn't make much of a difference at the height that planes fly when they're up at cruising altitude, where they should be flying above the South Pole. But that's, if you look at, I've always thought this was weird, and I don't know if it means anything, but it's why I think that the Earth is like a bundt cake pan, is because if you go to the stratosphere Wikipedia, you'll notice that there is different heights for the, and this is basically, the stratosphere is the part of the sky that, planes wouldn't necessarily fly in. It says near the equator, the lower edge of the stratosphere is as high as 66,000 feet. At mid-latitudes, it's at 33,000 feet, and at the poles, it's at 23,000 feet. So you are talking about a dome. This would be more like a bundt cake pan, because it's basically saying at the North Pole, it would be the lowest, and at the South Pole, it would be the lowest. And then you'd have an arc that goes up above, for lack of a better way to show it, it'd be like this, and then you'd have basically a sky that kind of does this, right? And it would do that all the way around, kind of give you like that kind of look, so that your lowest part of the sky would be here and then on the outskirts. So what that means exactly, I don't know, but it's basically saying the sky is lower. And if you've ever read these these 1800s and 1900s tales from the South, they always talk about the sky being lower and it being confusing. Sometimes the sky gets confusing of where the ground is and where the sky is because it appears so low. And I saw some video the other day. I wouldn't be able to find it now. I'm on the GLOBEBUSTERS account, but where the sky looks extremely low in Antarctica. So I hope that answers your question. And let's go to the next one. We've got, I just want to go back one check here and just see if that's where I thought it was. So, this is 360 degree. I haven't seen this. So, if this, this is the kind of sun where I don't think they can fake that. If the sun is there and it's going around you, that I don't think they can fake. But who knows? I say make them do it. Make them do it. So this looks like it's Union Glacier, 360 degrees. No views. It's kind of weird. 21 subs 4 years ago, 43 views. Very few people caring about that. What's his approach and landing? So, again, if you're looking, supposedly we'll be able to look out the windows. I've heard people say like, oh, you won't be able to look out the windows. It's not one of those military jets that has no windows that flies you down there. It's that actual 747 we just saw. So, we'll be able to look out the windows. I'm assuming, look at this. Where else would this be? If you're flying in and you see these mountains, oops, sorry, this thing's in the way. If you see mountains, I just don't think that you couldn't really say that it's anywhere else. Now, I know that they don't even use GPS. They use like a grid down here. It's completely changed. They don't use like GPS. They don't use the longitude, latitude, because it would get confusing again, of course, if you got too far away from the north. So they use like a grid system. And this is them landing. It must be fun to land on ice. Jeez. Not for me. All right, so we're almost done here. We got Flatlist says, how likely is it this slips the controller's mind and you guys film the sunset in Antarctica and come home with a huge W? I would have to think if that happens, then it's part of their plan to have this come out. And I've thought about that, and I know it's not a good way to think about it, but I have thought, Austin's told me from the time I've met him, that he thinks this will eventually come out, that they're going to co-opt it somehow and that this truth would come out. And I've always thought he was a little bit loopy, but I have thought about it and said, well, maybe they've just been waiting for somebody to actually prove it, and nobody's going down to Antarctica. Nobody's doing anything that can actually show it. So maybe maybe they're just gonna let it happen. I don't know. Again, that would be very weird to me, but I'm entertaining all thoughts. This looks like fun. What is going on with this computer screen? It's just flashing in and out. All right. You guys could do it on history, like Galileo's telescope observations, if everything works out and there is no 24-hour sun. Yes, or we could go down in the opposite history. Missa is up and at him today, so thank you very much, Doug. She is feeling better.
That's 100%. How Biden's going to remain to be president.
Well, that's probably...
Doesn't matter what the outcome will be. You know, because you guys are going down before January 6th, right?
Then they'll ground all flights after the
Yeah, it'll
election.
still be post-election though.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what that'll cause a civil war and all kinds of crazy shit to happen.
757.
Oh, we have to stop it. The Earth's flat.
Yeah.
No more.
I don't know if it's
election.
I don't know if it's
Put
a
down pause.
757 is the plane they use. I think it is, or 737. I just showed it. I'm not sure what it is exactly. I have to look that up. Did it show on here? Didn't it show I didn't show the plane. Yeah, I'm not positive. Next one. If revealed Duffy has connections with a satanic cult, would you still go? No, I can't really say. I don't know what you mean by a satanic cult, but no, I would probably cancel my trip. Okay, do you have evidence of that? Please, I would like to see that. I did see. I don't know if that's what Behind the Corporate Fiction talked about. I'll look into that and see, because I would like to know that. But
yeah, everyone's insisting we watch that stream. I guess.
Okay, I'll watch it right after.
Yeah, people were saying that.
I know it starts.
He had the one big fine, but the other one he's still facing potentially carries jail time, and then there was something sketchy about someone dying. Or, I don't know. Well, I haven't watched it.
Well, neither have I. But Bob Enyart is Duffy's best friend right now is Bob Enyart's son, and Bob Enyart died in 2021. But you know, I've shown him before. But Bob Enyart is he's a Christian who I used to listen to his radio show. He's this guy. You might recognize him. He oops, let me get this off the screen. He is a great Christian. I mean, he always went after the dinosaur guys. He would try and show them that dinosaurs were recent, showing them that bones, when carbon dated, will all come back with soft tissue in them because they all have soft tissue because they're all recent. None of them are 67 million years old. That's a lie. See here, this is him when he calls Jack Horner. We talked about this a couple weeks ago about the carbon dating of T-Rex. It's a funny story because Jack Horner's like, well, you know, it's not going to help us. He's like, yeah, no, it's not going to help us.
That's funny.
So here's caller discuss evolution and genetic information. But Bob Enyart was always, here's his channel 9 years ago. He's in debates. He's just always been a good Christian. So I don't know if people are claiming that he's in a cult or a satanic cult. I've seen this video before. This is him going against Larry Flint about his pornography and
how many people he destroys. That's Larry Flint.
Bob,
that's
please.
Larry Flint.
Larry is just providing a service.
Well, how about
that you apparently didn't use well? Lots of people.
His wife, I don't know who he says.
Thank you for the compliment, Bill. But Larry Flint's Chester the molester, adults having sex with children, a Santa Claus with his pants down having sex with a little girl on his lap. Larry promotes the tolerance of sex with kids.
So I've always heard Bob Enyart only say good things in my life that I remember him from. Again, if he said other things, I would like to see that. But Bob Enyart was Duffy's best friend. And then Bob Enyart died around the same time as Rob Skiba. And now Duffy's friends with his son. So I don't know if that's the connection that you're talking about, but I'll watch the video and see.
Yeah, just some people I do trust are like very insistent that we watch it. I don't know. It's 5 hours long, so.
Yeah, that's what I said last night. But somebody told me it started 12 minutes, and and then I did listen to like the last 45 minutes of it. And he doesn't talk about it at all, so I think he did cover it at the beginning of the video. So we'll be able to start at 12 minutes, go from there. Have you seen the photo of the sky simulator in the sky? No. Unless you're talking about the photo that Dave Weiss put up in his video that is, I don't even think it's the sun simulator, but could be. I'll show you that what I'm talking about. If you go to DITRH, if I can spell it right. Oop, that's the video right there I wanted. So this one here, if you go over to, this right here. So supposedly Dave said this is the sun simulator. To me, it looks like clearly a sun.
Here is that.
Clearly a lens flare. Because we can see the sun is up here, right? And, oops, sorry, I keep putting that damn chat on the screen. So you can see the sun up here, and then in a second it starts to move right here. Go. So see this? I mean, this is a lens flare. The sun's up above, and that's just like a lens flare. I don't know where they get the idea that that's the sun simulator. So are you talking about the one that's like launched from China or something? That's not real, I don't think. Duffy told me they use a 757. Yeah, it's either that or 737. It looked like a 757. I'm not a plane expert. Have you seen the photo of the sun simulator? Oops. Also have clips of it glitching out and flashing in the same video. Oh, you mean the one that Taboo Conspiracy shows flash? Oh, sun simulator in the sky. Thank you. Yes, okay, we got it. Let us see. Sorry, let's turn this on.
Two independent photos. Those of Crazy Horse two images yesterday with you guys. Of photos of Crazy Horse Monument in South Dakota. In both photos, there was two independent photos. A hexagon appeared in the sky in the photos. And it was very obvious that it was definitely a hexagon.
But hexagon are the lenses in cameras. It's the aperture, right? Is that what it's called? The thing that
as it closes.
No doubt about it.
Creates kind of like a hexagonal
I did make the
shape.
Connection with the solar simulator.
Yeah, this solar simulator is only inside. They've never put it outside that I've ever seen.
I didn't say anything right off the bat because of what's going on at YouTube. But as it turned out, they ended up demonetizing my video anyway. So here it is. Yeah, I'm totally on board. It's pretty obvious. This is what we're...
So listen to what the people are saying. Do you think that this thing would look like the sun through an infrared camera or a solar filter or any camera?
That's what I'm saying. It's like that does look a lot alike. That just makes our point even stronger that there's no way they could pull something like that out.
Looking at.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, if this is what we see, I mean, imagine us coming back and like, here's the sun, guys. It went around our head.
How it ended up in the sky. About Crazy Horse Monument, I have no idea.
It does look a lot like it, obviously.
Guys,
yeah, no. So he's saying he saw this in the sky. Can't you count it? Isn't it exactly? Kind of looks almost exactly.
It looks like the edges are a little different, possibly.
But like it's just missing 3 lights here.
Yeah.
Yeah, it looks very.
It's got the circle in the middle and everything.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, it looks very similar.
To T, what this thing looks like.
So my question would be, of course, I mean, so he just got one photo. Again, we have to kind of think.
Sorry,
photos.
You could take that one layer on the outside off of those ones, and it would make the perfect shape again.
Do what? Sorry, go ahead.
So take off that outside layer, the 4 and the one side. Yeah, if you take it on the right hand side, if you take those off, those little 4
here
on the edge, take all those off, and I think it'd be the same shape then.
Oh yeah, looks like it.
I'm going to reserve judgment on this one.
Yeah, I'll hold off too, but I mean, I would love to see if anybody else got footage like that. Like that's pretty obviously that. So.
Oh, that looks crazy.
I've never seen. I thought it was just talking about a hexagon in the sky. I've never seen a hexagon full of a bunch of dots like that. That's not normal.
But that is just like that just makes our point though. Like someone just takes a picture and can see it, and we're about to like be staring directly at the sun
for 3 days, and it's a little different. I guess they call it. Let me show you this picture here just to see. This is like a what? Oops, what happened? Grab this. This is like a hexagonal lens and a camera. That the way that the shutters close, like here, it becomes a hexagon. I don't know what that's called. Like this is what.
Yeah, that's the aperture.
Aperture, okay. Aperture that closes and can cause that. Here's these ones. I've seen like rainbows and things like that come out with that. All right, let's finish off here. We're getting somewhere. Thank you very much for that, though. That's the sun simulator in the sky. I would love to see more footage of that because, again, let us know what to look out for. What is the mainstream idea? Oops, I lost that. Let me get back here. What is this one here? What is the mainstream? I don't know. There you go. What is the mainstream idea of what direction everything rotates in Antarctica? East to west or west to east? Well, everything would be rotating east to west. So again, that would just be a different direction for them, which can still be explained just like we just explained the stars earlier. That it can be either you're on the outskirts of Antarctica, you're on the outskirts of the flat Earth, so you're looking at the sun coming around, it would be moving right to left for you. And then somebody in the north would be turned around facing you, so it would be moving left to right for them. The problem, again, is always going to come down to the sun going behind you, which isn't explained in any... There's just no way that could be the case, because, again, I'll just show one last time, we'll be done, is if this sun comes around here, and this person is standing in Union Glacier, and the sun actually goes around them like this. Sorry, I see you guys can't see that. Let's try this again. Get that off. All right. So I'm saying if the sun's coming this way, but actually what's happening is the sun's going around us like this, how could it just be doing circles like this around this person when the sun has to get over here and light up Australia and light up South America? So how would it be that this person, even if it's a personal atmospheric dome or whatever, which is explained well for the stars and everything, the observations that we see of the so-called southern polar point, those things are all described well because none of them require a sun going around you when it has to get over here. Right? Again, midday, midnight. So at midnight, when the sun is going to be directly south, it should be over here and on its way around this way. So that's the problem with the setup. Have you seen videos of the sun? Oops. Yeah. Have you seen videos of the sun simulator glitching out like a flashlight? I think this is the video from... Oh, no. I've not seen this one.
That could be the camera and the clouds, if you have the ISO, an automatic ISO setting.
Yeah, that's crazy though. I don't know why.
That is wild looking.
I'd love to.
But yeah, that could be the camera, in my opinion.
Yeah, that looks like. It also looks like it's square, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I mean,
I want to encourage everyone to really kind of be careful when a lot of flat earthers make all kinds of claims on X and stuff about the sun simulator and all that stuff. They're like, and the people are saying that they're not getting full charge from their solar panels and their gardens aren't growing the way they used to. It's like, dude, they say they want to block the sun, bro. Like, that doesn't mean there's a fake sun. I'm not saying there is or isn't. I'm not saying there can't be reflections. I'm just like, why? Yeah. Why say there is one when it makes us look potentially insane?
And there's a bunch of people with cameras now. Like if everyone just go out when you see the sun, get your camera out and take a look at it. I mean, if there's something like that, then we would see it, because it wouldn't be just for one person. It would be in the sky for how many people can see the sun at one time? 4 billion. So, I mean, there's a lot of people looking at the sun. We can probably get some camera footage of it if it's not what's expected up there. But when anybody zooms in, they're actually seeing, and again, I know this is because I've seen Crow and I trust Crow and I trust Rose and Hydrogen Alpha. He's been showing his telescope views. And I don't know how expensive that telescope is. It's not cheap. And he's showing images like this and this. This is what Crow is seeing. I'm not talking about this white stuff on there. His doesn't show that, I don't think. But it's showing like a very weird physical looking thing. That's the sun. So to me, this is why I'm not afraid of it being a reflection or something. Again, if this sun's going by you right to left, and then it starts going behind you back, and then you look and it's a flipped image, that shouldn't be the case. So you'd right away know that you're actually seeing a mirrored image of the sun. All right, let's. I think that's all the chats. Did we miss any tips at Rockpin?
Zachary? No, it was pretty quiet over there today.
Okay, thank you everybody for being here, and I'll check the super chats on here real quick and see if we had any there. Fan funding. Oh, we got a bunch. Let's start there. So we've got Karen B in the house. Karen B, Flattoberfest 2024, September 27th through 29th, Spartanburg, South Carolina. Go to flatearthfestivals.com/Flattoberfest. I believe I can't read the rest of that. Let's click and see where it goes. /Flattoberfest 2024. I'll put that link in the description one more time, or in the chat.
I will be there.
Zach will be there with bells.
Cami and I will be doing our How the World Works. Nice. We got some new toys this year.
And okay, we got Doug, member for 9 months, says I'm going to Flattoberfest. Can't wait. Awesome, Doug. I hope nothing comes up. We've got Rico's Tinfoil Sombrero, who gifted 5 GLOBEBUSTERS memberships. Thank you, Rico. Guys, check out their podcast, which starts here pretty quickly, or I think it starts at maybe 4 Pacific. I'm not sure. I'll have to find out. I think it's 6 Central. I tried this with my ceiling fan, and it looks like it doesn't change. Maybe I'm one of those special people that doesn't get it. I'll have to try.
All right, let me try this again, Dave.
Okay, here we go.
Okay. When Dave said, "Oh, I can put a clock on my ceiling," I said that's not analogous because, and he interrupted me. because that's what he has to do. It's not analogous because we're talking about a huge expanse of the stars. So when we look out, if you do time lapse in real life, which I've done dozens of times, you have to point your camera north, and you do not point your camera straight in the sky. You look out in front of you at an angle, then you take time lapse of the star trails. So when we're seeing the stars spin in the sky, we're looking out in front of us at an angle. We're not looking directly up, and we're looking under a huge expanse of sky. That's because things dropped you to perspective. So if I take that clock and I put it out in front of me and it starts spinning, if I walk on the other side of the clock and turn around and look at it, it will be spinning the other way. Okay, so just a little bitty clock on my ceiling isn't analogous. We're talking about the entire sky. It's huge. It goes way beyond even how far we can see, and it's spinning. Okay, to see the direction it's spinning, you're going to see that whole sky out in front of you spinning one way, which is like, say, clockwise in the south, counterclockwise in the north. Okay, that's why a little bitty clock directly above you isn't the same thing. I'm not sure how else to say it without visuals, but obviously he wouldn't even let me get 3 words in. So
no, he wouldn't. Just kept talking over it, and they kept letting it go. That's upsetting. It's like, dude, knock it off.
And then the guy was like, "But I want to thank you guys. You both have been very respectful."
Oh, really? I missed that part.
Like, no, actually, I've yielded to you and the interruptions the whole time, trying to be like, good faith.
This is probably a dumb way of describing it, but it's the same kind of deal. If you've got, call this the east wall, the outside wall, call this the west wall. Okay, and if stars are going up this way, across the top, and down in the west, if we're standing here in the room at the front end looking this way, east to west is a counterclockwise, right? It's going this way, counterclockwise. Now move this person to over here, where now they're looking from this side of the room this way. Kind of turn yourself around and realize that it's going from their left over the top to the right. Do that motion, and it's this. Clockwise.
So, yeah, that's a perfect
kind of
visual aid right there.
Yeah, let's think about if you have a little clock on the ceiling and then you walk to the other side of your room, you're still looking at the clock from the same direction.
Right.
Because it's just up above you. You're still looking up at that. If you put a clock out in front of you and then you walk to the other side of it and turn around, now you're looking at it from a different direction. For it to be analogous to the stars, that's what you would have to do, because we're looking out in front of us, say north, or then we're going to turn around and look out. Also, something else he got wrong, which is super elementary, is like it only is based on the hemisphere. No, it's not.
Yeah, no,
you can see the stars move the other way in the north or the south. It depends on which way you're looking.
So you're saying like this, right? Like if this guy's looking this way at the clock, he's going to see it moving clockwise. But then this guy on the other side who sees it going that way is actually seeing it go counterclockwise.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hopefully that makes sense. Okay, we're almost done here. I tried Earth. The Earth is flat. FE will not be allowed to get evidence. The trip will be stopped. I think you're right, Eric. Thank you very much for $5. We've got Justin Johnson, always a great supporter of the show. He gifted 5 GlobeBusters memberships. And then he got a 10-month super chat in. Says, like the smash button if you haven't. What? Like this? Oh, confusing me. Don't confuse me. V. Thomas, a member for 1 month. Welcome, V. Thank you very much for being here. We appreciate it. And last but not least, we've got a $30 super chat. We spend a lot of time focusing on the south. What about exploration of the north? How come there isn't any footage from a person from magnetic North Pole to geographic North Pole? It's like 320 miles. Wait, why isn't there any footage from a person from magnetic North Pole to geographic North? I don't know. I mean, again, this is definitely questions you should be asking, but their story would be that it's just a puddle of water. That's their position. So, would somebody need to be in a boat? But I've never seen, have you ever seen star trails from directly under Polaris? No.
Yeah. They don't exist.
And I don't think you can fly within like 300 miles of it either. So, I mean, many people think that there's a hole there.
From average altitude, you can only see 250 miles. So they make it so you can't even really see the North Pole.
I heard 500.
Is it 500? It might be 500 radius, though. I mean, diameter.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I always heard 500 in each direction. So I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Is it that much? I mean, I guess you could use if you use the Earth curve calculator, that's technically what they would use. Let me see. Earth curve calculator. Oops, that's the wrong one. I don't know if you can do it on this one.
Oh, just to clarify, I'm saying I heard you can't commercially fly within 500 miles of each
500.
direction.
Oh, got you.
500 miles. Yeah.
Got you. Because if you're 35, oops, that was weird. My computer just went black. 35,000 feet. So at 35,000 feet, the distance to horizon is 229. So that would be right. That's the radius, because your eyesight would be the radius, and then the diameter would be whatever, double that. So I got a couple videos this week I wanted to talk about on my show Friday, but we'll do that maybe tomorrow. But that should be fun. I want to get back. I want to talk about the 0.318 again. I still think 0.318 is very important, because I just find there has to be a reason why they've hidden that and not mentioned it to anybody. If you ask somebody, if I just search real quick on YouTube for, I need the diameter from the circumference of a circle, that there's usually a bunch of results that are like kind of get a little bit weird, and there's like girls doing crazy like this, like crazy mathematics, and I've just never understood. It's simply times 0.318 every time. And in fact, when I learned that, I understood circles finally. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. 0.318 of a circle is the diameter. So now I understand the ratio. So 0.318 is just as important as 3.14. In fact, it's the reciprocal of it. And it's just never mentioned. Nobody, if you search 0.318, there's not even any, and it's just as important as pi. It's the same thing. It's the ratio, and it actually makes more sense. If you told somebody the ratio 3.14, they're going to be kind of, I don't really get that. And then to even get crazier, I'll just show you something that I thought was nuts. And this might be true about every circle, but I thought about if you went 8 inches on the Earth, let's say, if you went a mile on the Earth, it supposedly drops 8 inches. So if you measured the first mile, it'd be 8 inches. Now, if you went to the end of that mile, measured the next mile, 8 inches, went to the end of that one, measured the next mile, 8 inches. So I took 8 inches times the circumference of 24,901 just to see if we just went 1 mile at a time, what would be the total curvature measured? So that would come out to 199,208. We would divide that by 12 to get our feet, 16,600. Divide that by 5,280 to get our miles of curve in our circle, and it's 3.14. So then I said, wait a second. And I figured out that that's true because I was able to predict what the curvature of the moon must be simply by doing the same thing. I basically kept putting in numbers until I got to 3.14 when I reduced it down. So isn't that kind of crazy that the 8 inches per mile squared can be proven in the fact that that's the curvature of a circle of 24,901, because it ends up at pi, which is the ratio that you would need. Anyway, which again, if you don't know, that 1 divided by pi is 3.14, 15, whatever, would be 0.318. So it's just a ratio that I think is weird, because I started to think, well, then I think the curvature of a circle is always its diameter. Again, you'd have to, if you think about it, if you went from the North Pole to the South Pole through the Earth, but you couldn't do that because you can't go through the Earth of a globe, so you had to go around the edge of it. Well, how much hill did you climb? Well, you climbed the radius. You didn't go straight down. You climbed the radius to come back to the South Pole. Okay, then go back to the North Pole. You climbed the radius again. So the curvature of any circle is its diameter, which is 0.318. So that's why I wanted to talk about it, because I still think there's a chance that the curvature should be 0.318 per mile. But anyway, let's see if there's anything else. You got anything coming up at all, Zachary?
We will have GLOBEBUSTER Tech Thursday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. Not sure what it's going to be on yet, but if you missed it, go check out the one we did with Chris Van Matre. Oh, yeah, he's a surveyor of 30 years. And he breaks down how they take the measurements that he actually does. He's a plane surveyor. You know, he goes out there on the field and does all the measurements, and then they give them to geodetic surveyors, and they do a little math before they even get them. And
and it's like a formula, right? A formula that basically they put in, and it kind of corrects for all their
it takes that long flat line and it bends it and makes it actually a little bit longer, I believe, but bends it so it still covers the same amount of the pie. You'll have to see the video. He's got some good visuals for it and everything. Awesome. But yeah, it's real genius how they did it.
Yeah, I think it has a lot to do with it. I had a guy message me the other day. He's just talking about how, isn't it just because the globe model is the best at predicting? He's like, why would there be anything wrong with it? Why do you guys care if it makes predictions? It's like, well, because if it's not true, then that's the whole point. It's like not making I mean, yes, okay, so it makes predictions, should we just all then say it makes predictions, so that's where we all live and end of story? And well, what if it's a lie and there's bigger implications? That's the problem. But they don't see that. They just see it. And I'm guessing this is atheists. An atheist is just going to look at it and be like, but yeah, we want the one that has the closer predictions, and Glober does that because they don't understand the implications of that being hidden or foisted on you or lied to you about, simply to remove any idea of being created or of finding your true purpose here and your importance here. If you don't know where you live and you think you're a spinning ball and you think you're a monkey, that probably has an impact on the way that you live your life.
And I get it. I get that response though, because I remember saying that.
Yeah.
You know, the couple months going up to my actually clicking on my first video, because I kept seeing flat Earth, and then those were the questions. Well, what difference would it make anyway? You know,
Or the one I keep hearing is like, well, what's the motive? What's the motive? And in any murder, we need to have a motive. It's like, well, no, but not until you're going to determine that you walk in the house and look, there's dead bodies. You're like, okay, you don't say, I'm not sure if there's dead bodies yet. Let's first find a motive. No.
Yeah.
You're going to establish.
That's not how it works.
Establish the murders first, and then you can go in and look for the reasons. But to just ask that first is we're not there yet. We're trying to get people to understand that they have been lied to, and trying to show them where. But a lot of these guys are just not interested in hearing that, and they follow along with Toon and these guys who just say everything is perfect. I mean, those guys can't even acknowledge the problems in cosmology or the axis of evil or any of the stuff. The connections with, I don't know, did you get that paper I sent you? I wanted to send it to Zack too. That paper that have you ever heard of the Maxwell's displacement theory or whatever? Austin, if you've heard that. I don't know if that's what it's called.
I saw you something, but I haven't looked at it.
Yeah, if you look up Maxwell's displacement current, it's almost, I was trying to read about it, but it's like he describes relative density. In electromagnetism, displacement current density is the quantity appearing in Maxwell's equations that is defined as the rate of change, the electric displacement field. Displacement current density has the same units as electric current density and is the source of the magnetic field, just as the actual current is. Anyway, it sounds like they had another explanation for gravity, but just didn't go with it. They just left this hanging. But it's basically described the same way and has the same values and is dependent on distance and is dependent on radius, all this stuff. It's the same thing. So anyway, people could check that out if they want. It's a paper I was reading recently. All right. I believe that we are out. Yeah. And then Austin, go ahead and say what you got coming up besides having your wife pop.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I may do some streams this week, but yeah, I've been busy trying to get stuff kind of in place, and then we're expecting the baby here soon, so that's pretty much what I have coming up. But yeah, I guess just stay tuned, and I'll announce anything on either X or on my YouTube. If I'll probably do a couple streams if I can fit them in, depending on when she comes.
Well, good luck with that one. All right, I believe that is it. Do I have a debate this week? I don't think so. I believe that is it for me. I'm trying to think what else we got going on. I think that's it. All right. Any final words, guys, or we can head out for the day? Thank you for staying with us a little bit late. Appreciate it.
I think if you go to, what's that lady's word? Fractal Woman. She's a great physics. She covers a lot of, physics papers. Yeah, she did one on this. But this is where Maxwell changed Ampere's law.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
To allow the, electricity to permeate through the vacuum without, any type of an electric field.
Right, but he didn't. I mean, a lot of these people don't even think that there's any chance now. I mean, that the vacuum is empty. Right? They think it's dynamic and that it's different. I don't know, waves. Basically, it's kind of like a space-time thing, though. The way they describe it is basically it's always filling in for the energy that's going in one direction or being provided to whatever bodies are in space. I mean, again, I don't believe in the vacuum, so I'm kind of lost when it comes to that. But yeah, check that out. I'll show you the paper. I have the paper from 1861, I think, on the physical lines of force. But then there's the a paper after that, the dynamic theory or something of electromagnetism. All right, I think that's it. Oh, I do have. That's next July 3rd, definitely check that out. July 3rd is going to be a Wednesday, and we're going to be doing the remake of Mystery Science Theater 3000, although it'll be me, Mike from THC, and Sov are going to be doing Mystery NASA Theater 420. Should be fun. That is July 3rd at 5 p.m. Pacific. So we'll be starting that show, and I thought there was something else too. That's going to be on the July 3rd. Oh, and then if you're a VIP member with my stuff, which you can go to whop.com/jeranism, we do a first and third Saturday of the month hangout with a member of the community. So the first one was Dave Weiss, and then we did Rose 777. The beginning of last month was Austin. Last week was Conspiracy Music Guru. So coming up on July 6th will be Mark Sargent and Patricia Steer will be joining us. So that is July 6th, Saturday, 12 noon Pacific. We'll be doing those twice a month. So if you're interested in joining us, join the VIP. You get all my videos and all that stuff on Telegram, and then also get to come hang out with us on Saturdays and talk to people in the community. Ask them what you want. Tell them you hate them and that they're shills. Whatever you want to do. It's all allowed. Austin, tell people where they can become members of your stuff, please.
Ko-fi.com/witsit or witsitgetsit.com. Go to donate. And Miss Wits, we have a little Discord. You'll get to the bottom, give you a roll to pop you into the Discord once you sign up through Ko-fi. So Ko-fi.com/witsit is where you become a member.
Awesome. And I believe that is everything. All right. It's been fun, guys. I remind you to be kind to each other. Don't lie to each other. Open your mind. There is truth inside. We'll be back next week. Till then,